There we go. Yeah, I'm late. I'm always late. Trying to load a picture.
Keep them in.
Still trying to load a picture. Yeah. Trying to show everybody where Benny is tonight. He's not going to be here. Right here.
Ah.
Yeah. That's where he's at.
He's got to wear that daggum hat to the rendezvous.
Gilligan. What's the skipper's name? What's the skipper? Just Skipper, right? Lots to talk about tonight.
What? My wife and I were sitting there waiting on the
Spit
rendezvous, and we hear this little souped up Banshee coming down the road running Mach 12, and it was Benny.
Well, what'd you do? What you been doing, Jeremy? You haven't been on for a while.
Been sick. I ain't been doing much. Treat a bear.
What you been up to?
Yeah, treat a bear with them big money dogs. Yeah.
Nice.
Trashy hounds.
Trash.
What happened to the best of you?
It was a big long race.
Some rain.
150 yards. It's been raining the last 3 nights.
150 yards, big old race. Is 150 yards a good race?
Yep, rigged it out of the box. 150 yards. Go out there and a 500-pound bear sitting there looking at me.
That bear was taking a nap.
They need to open that up to y'all down there. That'd be all right. You get tagged down there.
They only have 800 bears.
Yeah.
In my parish. That's a county for you guys.
That's what I was just going to ask. I was going to ask you, what the hell is a parish? But county, I'll take it.
They're not quite so big, I don't think.
Oh, okay.
Like, I think, if I understand correctly, like Pinell County is a lot bigger than their parish.
Yeah, my parish is like 600 square miles.
Yeah.
So,
county folks tried to be like Jared today and end up with a trash race and a wounded dog. I miss the snow. We got 7-8 inches of snow on Friday night, melted by Saturday afternoon, and dry by Sunday, which tells you how dry the ground is. And I'm at 6,000 feet. We should have had a muddy mess. Is what we should have had.
You get out there and you catch anything in that, Chris?
Yeah, a girl in a truck that slid off the road into a huge ditch in a barbed wire fence. So I had to go pull her out. I know. I was going to go too. And it's just like, sometimes I think the hound gods are like, nope. You talk too much shit about snow. We're not going to let it be easy for you. Robert Chase.
That's the way it goes. That would have been the day you caught a big old thumper too.
Oh, there's Jared.
There he is.
Justin should have had my back right there.
I wasn't letting him in.
Talking shit. And we're gonna rile him up here in a little bit.
I spent enough time with him last week.
Yes.
Cuddling that sleep.
And Brandon.
Yeah.
Was Jules with you guys?
For a day.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that made it worth any kind of while.
I don't know. I had some good time making fun of Jared the whole time I was there.
The whole fucking time.
He don't like them mules, does he? He's not used to them mules, is he?
He did all right. Brandon put him on the babysitter, and we just had to wait for him to catch up all the time.
Dustin had to take my lead rope and just tie it around his horn the whole time.
Tie it to the tail. Is Benny in here? Oh, he is here.
Yeah, he's been yapping.
There you go. We'll see. Tim said, Benny, you up in the sound or down the coast further in the sound? He said not yet. We took the big boat out and went up to Snake to experience the locks. Walleye tomorrow.
There you go. I
went elk hunting this morning, and I was going to catch me a little spike in that herd. And someone sent me a video on the road, and the golf courses are really green right now. So usually by the end of April here in May, they start coming to eat that grass. And I was by myself, so it's kind of hard to. It's just driving, your placement. And I had a shot, and I should have just got out of my truck, walked across the road, and shot it. And I was probably far enough. I didn't have my rangefinder, but when you're listen, I used to be more flexible on my skills. But when you have family that's a game warden, you have to behave now, and it sucks.
I've seen your skills firsthand.
You see?
Yeah.
You're law enforcement. That's my law enforcement skill level.
Feel, you can't roll the window down, hold the spotlight, and shoot all at the same time. Nobody help you.
Well, and it's black powder, muzzle loader. So you see my big smoke signal that says, "Hey, I'm right here." So
put you some baby powder down the end of your 308. Poof.
Poof. So that's what I've been dealing with. And then I got a text today, and we'll talk about it here in a bit. And a lot of people didn't know about this webinar going on. And it was cats. It wasn't anybody else. It was cats. The cats aren't trophies.
Yeah.
I thought they had to switch their name.
So if you watch the whole video, Wayne Pacelli's in there, and behind him it says, whatever he is now, United dumb shit, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I think
that guy. You could tell that guy. That guy either has
Don't
plugs.
be taking that shit away from me.
What's that?
United dumb shits.
Oh. So
got to be the president of something.
Yeah. So I recorded it, and I'll play a few of those tonight. We'll start off with that, but Jared, he's no longer an Arizonian.
Not for a little bit.
No.
Don't worry, everyone's mad that I'm up here.
Yep. Yeah, I was talking to another houndsman today, and he's like, dude, I just don't get the jealousy. I said, I think it's more just selfish, and do you get kind of like butt hurt when someone catches a lion? I mean, yeah, because you're not out there catching a lion. That's anything.
It's just,
y'all
Nevada's
think y'all got it bad. Come down here and hunt during, the end of January.
Nevada's so desolate. Like, when I first started lion hunting in Nevada, there was like 2 guys in town that caught lions.
Yeah.
Me and another guy. Now, there's 7-8 guys in town with dogs in their backyard. And when you go from not seeing anyone ever, I mean, there's times that we've been out in the desert out here, and shoot, we haven't seen a car drive by in a week and a half, to all of a sudden, like, you're hitting roads that you didn't have to wake up to go check. You're hitting roads, and all of a sudden they're checked. It's like, what the shit? And that's, like, I'm not saying anything. You choose what you want to do and how you want to do it, but it's just, that feeling when people are parked out in front in your front yard and they're talking on the phone just because they had to pull over and talk real quick.
Oh yeah.
I think that's what they're feeling like. Why are you here?
They got to get it. They got to get over it, though, man. The whole rest of the country's been dealing with that on a bigger scale for a long time.
Well, when you're dealing with 4 lions in a mountain range, it's hard to get over it.
We'll
deal with that. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. We're gonna save that. I'm gonna make those petitioners watch our whole show before we talk about them. I
Yeah.
know
They
they're
ain't gonna
watching.
watch. No one cares.
I've gotten texts before.
They're awful
Um,
upset.
Yeah, but
Dustin,
you guys broke
you
up,
had a
so it's okay.
yeah. Dustin he was actually got to get out in Arizona.
Yeah, went and hunted with Jared and Brandon. Didn't bring any of my dogs down. Just went to see what was going on and spent a couple days riding mules and back trailing lions. So
There you go.
I know that
But-
feeling.
it was good.
Your
It
knees
was
hurt?
good. It was good.
We actually
It-
went straight though.
That'll
Yeah.
happen. I mean, we saw some new country none of us had been in before, and just it was kind of a learning thing, and it was good. You know, I mean, I enjoyed it. You know, spending time hanging out at camp. We had a few cold ones, and Jared realized he doesn't want to spend a week on the mountain with me, so.
Just because you weren't walking enough.
No, I think he realized.
No, I'm
how
over
big
that
of a
walking stuff. I texted Dustin.
Asshole.
Yeah,
How big an
I
asshole you are when
texted
you have
Dustin.
a
Yeah.
couple
Dude,
cold
I'm
ones?
not walking.
he did realize how big of a smartass I am. He was like, "Why am I the butt of every
Yeah.
joke?" I said that you're an easy target. It's just the way it is. But no, like the first day we went up, you know, I ended up trailing a tom, but we ended up, you know, going backwards for a ways. It was tougher country, hard to see a track, and then, you know, we ended up getting to where the dogs kind of started slowing down, and we rode up the canyon to where they were at, and Jared found a couple scratches that were going both ways in the canyon, but just the way the dogs were acting after they had started to where we were at, we figured they were going backwards, so we pulled them and called it for a day that day, and then the next day we rode some different country and ended up trailing for a little while, and then same thing, just hard country. They hit it in kind of some rocky stuff and went across the canyon from us, and by the time we were able to get across the canyon, because there was one spot where there used to be an old bridge, I'm guessing where the cowboys used to push cows across. They must have built something, but the bridge was gone. Luckily, you know, the game and stuff in the area had made a trail kind of close to it where we could get across, and by the time we caught up to the dogs, Jared and I both hopped off the mules, searching the wash, kind of seeing if we could find a track, and eventually we found some half-assed looking toes that looked like we were going backwards from there, but up until then
Dustin found the toes. I didn't find them.
it would have been hard to, I mean, tell anywhere else we had trailed. You really just couldn't see it. It was just tough country to see a track, but it
True
was good
dry
to
ground.
get out. Yeah, it
Not
was
bare
good.
ground, true dry ground.
Yeah, and it was good just to get out, listen to the dogs, and spend some time with Jared and Brandon, ride some mules. I mean, yeah, that's the stuff I live for. You know, it did me some good, kept me sane, and it'll get me over for a few more months till I get moved out of the city and start bringing dogs back down. So
You need to
It
come
was
up
good.
here this month.
I
We
want
might be going to the Arizona Bighorn Sheep Society dinner. I might just buy a table. Probably wouldn't hurt. I just hate, you know, I haven't really fundraised in the last couple of weeks because we've been like busy doing everything. So I need to get back on it. We need to throw some raffles out. We are still taking money. Let me get all this out of the way, I guess. It's already been 15 minutes. For one, these guys right here. Value Pack. I've known a lot of people. They're starting to buy it. I've been using it and I like it. We're still raising money for the $1,500 dog. I think we have $700. I haven't really mentioned it, but like I said, man, the April 11th thing kind of took our time. And that's what I'm going to talk about today as well. Looked like a bear. Probably did. I saw a jaguar track today. Looked like this.
Oh, shoot.
Yep.
Remember that track I told you guys about? And you guys, oh, go catch it. Man, I'm telling you what. I mean, that looks like a bear track, you
It
know.
does. It does.
This is compliments of Cody King. And then Benny wanted me to mention tonight. Let me get these off. That Larry Hendricks passed away last week. And that
He
guy
did.
was
I saw
hunter
that.
of hunters. Mm-hmm.
He was for
You
sure.
don't know nothing about services, but daughter's just going to let the dust settle before making any plans. He'll be buried in Pie Town. I wouldn't mind just going to that.
Yep.
Sitting in the back, paying my respects.
Yeah,
Maybe we'll all
it's-
jump in a truck. I don't know if they're just gonna have family there. I never got to meet them, but you know, I had called another houndsman. Brett had me look up a guy, and called him. And these old guys, they don't think. The guy I talked to, I'm not gonna say his name, but the guy I talked to, he's like, "What does it matter?" And I don't think he realizes to the true houndsman. And we've talked about true houndsmen and what makes you a houndsman and all this. A true houndsman that's out there running dogs because they want to run dogs. The old guys matter to us. These stories, these interviews, you know, no matter how stupid you might think it sounds or how old school it is, or those little stories are great.
Well,
So
back in the day, they truly lived it. You know, a lot of those guys, like, you know, that have passed on, you know, and stuff like that. They truly lived just a different era where it was just them and the dogs.
Well, it was a
plain and simple.
livelihood too. Also,
It was, you know, they
well,
lived
it was a
their
livelihood
life.
you didn't get paid for before.
Yeah.
This is what people understand. It was a $3,000 hunt if you caught something. Now, if that was the case today, you had to catch something for a $9,000 hunt, it'd be a different story. These guys would, you know what I mean? I think that effort would go from 70% because they're getting paid. They're getting paid to do it, whether they catch one or not.
Effort.
And obviously,
nowadays, there's so much competition nowadays in the hound world that if you're not going 100%, they can sell it and you won't have a name within a year.
Yeah.
If you're not catching nothing at all. No, I've had a dry bear season and took people out. And before we've even been out to the woods, these guys from California, and these guys are big, like those are the guys that pay $10,000 to go catch tuna and all that crap. Yeah. And that night, before I even started hunting, those guys were having a blast. So I think if you have a good character or a good personality or a lot of charm like I have, because I'm so full of charm. Lion hunters, guys. I'm a lion part. I think the adventure of if you have somebody good and you have a good hunt, then that. And I'm not a good guide. I'm not a good businessman. Even in my private investigator business, you know, I'm $90 an hour, $125 an hour. I'll drop it down if they buy a block. 4-hour minimum. I'll drop sometimes down to $75 an hour, as long as they have a date and a time and a place. And there's a lot of people. I've had people call me and say, "Hey, I got this situation." I say, "Listen, you can give me $1,500 to do this deal, but I'm gonna tell you what you should do first. Call me if it don't work." I'm kind of that way with guiding. You know, I'm kind of cheap. I even feel guilty. I only charge like $2,200 for a 3-day hunt for bear. And I say no food, whatever, but I end up feeding them my garbage anyways. You know, I'm like, what food you got? I'll cook it all up.
It's not garbage, dude. You should see the pictures he sent us. Some of that shit is older than my children by a long
way.
Hey, y'all smoked oysters out of the seat.
Okay,
if I knew how to put pictures on here, holy hell!
You probably can. So all you got to do is add it. I'm gonna delete you right now off of it.
No.
The only thing, the oldest stuff I had, I ended up feeding to my dog. The 2008 chicken noodle soup stuff, and there was.
Fed us the 2012 elk and bear.
Hey, I have 3 dogs. I have.
How does that My background's all messed
yeah.
up. Dude, that
There
is
you go.
some chicken. Tell me that's 2012. And I guarantee you he's eating that shit.
Oh yeah. No, I won't throw that away.
Hey,
Still got a year
Tim,
or two left in it.
Tim left you a comment.
Oh yeah, Chris, he's right. Damn it. I mispronounced it. Did I say charm? I meant shit.
I agree, Tim.
Brett, what happened to the Monday show? Brett gonna give it up? Brett's just been really busy out doing stuff. I don't know. I know he didn't want to do W no more because he's too busy. I kind of pulled out a W. It wasn't really me. I just made a call and said, "Hey, what do you want to do?" And it just wasn't what I wanted to do. I'd rather put it on we have a free casting podcast. So if you go look up anywhere, Apple, if you go to rss.com, look up free casting, we're on there. Spotify, free casting, we're on there. So I have a bunch of old stuff I'm putting on there. And I've been trying to edit it and cut out some of the stuff where it says, hey, the rendezvous's coming up or April 11th coming up. But our Wednesday shows, I'm going to try to get and put on for Mondays. But so there'll be recent ones, but there's going to be a lot of old ones till I get caught up. So if you guys want to listen to us while you're driving, which sometimes is a lot easier, and I get rid of me coughing, clearing my throat, Derek saying the F word, Jared saying the F word because I don't cuss at all. I don't say one fucking bad word in my life.
Lord, let me go get my waders on.
Boy,
Yeah, it's getting deep, ain't it, bud?
Or the boat.
but
So
probably, yeah.
botulism tastes better in a jar.
He
Gosh
cooked
dang
it
right.
dead, Wayne. There's no
Hey.
botulism left.
You cook anything long enough and hot enough, you'll be good to go.
Oh,
Nobody died. So I do have 3 jars of 2010 Bear, and I think I'm going to make some tamales with it.
And I think
So
Wayne.
that's how I
missed your
disguise
tacos.
it. What is it?
Wayne missed your tacos. Those are pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like 1920 elk.
Dude, I'm not saying they didn't taste good. I'm just saying sometimes the after effects ain't worth the taste.
Hey, sometimes you need a cleansing.
Hey, I don't see anybody not going to Taco Bell.
That's the outdoorsman version of those bunny hugger juice cleanses right there. With a big 35-year-old bear meat. Clean your eye out.
So Jared called me before he even got to Nevada and said, "You have room for 20 dogs in a sleeping bag?" I said, "Heck yeah." Shit, I got a whole property in Winslow you could just go live in.
That still might happen. Who knows?
That old boy, he spent one night in the snow up there, and he's thinking he's going to turn into a snow hunter and move to the high country. He sends me a picture.
He ain't tall enough.
Yeah, hell, I ain't any taller than him. He sends me a picture of sitting in his truck, and all I can see is a snow-covered windshield. I said, "You gonna go hunt in the morning?" No.
Did you guys get snow up there?
Oh yeah. I
He
turned
did.
into mud, but
I left before it snowed. I left that when it was raining, and that night it turned into snow.
my bedroll was so soaked through because I haven't waterproofed it in like 4 years. So I just put 4 ponchos on and I wrapped my feet in a flannel and I went to bed. But that was a hard night. It wasn't fun.
Look, you have to live with Wayne.
There you go.
Winslow's I actually thought about fixing my place up, moving to Winslow, build a house or set a double wide and sell it, just keep kind of going. Because Winslow, you have 5B right there, you have 4A, 4B right there. You're only 80 miles from Sholo. So in an hour, you're back over here in the Pines. It's really, and if you want to hit the 40, run down to Williams, you're 80 miles from Williams. I think it's 57 miles to Flagstaff. It's a damn good center point.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
I mean,
He's been holding
and it's
out.
just sitting there. You got power. The only thing anybody'd have to do is I didn't drop. Someone stole the pump out of it before I even got there when I bought it back in the day. I just never put one in. It does have a little septic tank, so you could hook up an RV there. I had a trailer there, and it has power, which is, if you have power, you have the world. And then it has a well. It's only 150 foot deep. It probably only costs about $500 at Tractor Supply to get a pump and drop it down that well. And I got a big, I don't know, 2,000
Well, you got to
gallon
buy
tank.
the poly. Do you have the poly hose for it too? For the
The whole system it used to be $500 for 150 feet.
Yeah, not anymore.
It's probably a little more, but
I just bought a well pump for $750.
did
just
you?
for the pump?
You didn't tell me. You want me to tell you what my uncle did? He took
I swear to God, if you tell me he dropped and then started pumping with a lever.
No. I seen him build a tractor out of a Mazda truck, but he took this ditch digger.
I knew it was going to be some hillbilly something.
Oh, no. No. This guy, he drilled 200 feet found an old well truck, took the spinner rod off it, put it on like those Vermeer's ditch diggers, ditch witch, bigger one, and put it on the side of it. And he just kept drilling. Took him a year. He just drilled till he hit water. So,
Shit.
I have another property up there too that has water but no power. I don't know what I'd rather have. If you're living in a trailer,
water.
you don't
Water,
need. Yeah,
It's easier to bring haul gasoline than it is to haul water.
Yep.
well, and if you're just in a little trailer,
Hell,
or a
solar.
trailer, it don't take nothing. That's all you need is to charge your phone.
Yeah. $6,500 put you a solar kit in. You could run anything that wasn't moving stuff, man.
I actually have a 12 by 24 bunkhouse up there, but the roof went bad, so I have to get in there and re-drywall everything and refloor it. But it was 12 by 24. So if I just have to. It had a stove up in Sholo here by the golf course. Those elk come right up my property.
Lord, y'all hear me? Slum Lord.
Slum Lord.
And I'm still broke.
Shit, I need to find me a place like that. Get out of this daggone city.
He's been holding out.
Yeah, that's why I can't find nothing. Chris buys them all up. He's probably got 400 of them in there.
The house I found. Did I send you those pictures, Jeremy? The house I found.
Mm-mm.
Oh,
you're holding out.
Yeah, I probably will because it has my GPS on those. I have to change that. There's a house someone tried to build and didn't. He finished it, but it needs painted, and someone broke out all the windows. It's probably an older guy. I did call the lady. Great thing about being a PI is I look up the address, tax address, and then I start looking. And I did call her. She says, "Oh yeah, I might be interested in selling it. Just send me your information." But that road has a bunch of shitty houses. That's what I always tell people. I just told my daughter, she's moving, another one is moving back in, and they want to look for a house. And I said, you don't look for a house on Zillow or the internet. You drive around. You find their tax address. You call them. If they're sitting there forever, how much is it going to cost you to, the house I bought in White Mountain Lakes, I was living next door. I called the guy. I said, "Hey, you want to sell your house?" He goes, "Yeah, 80,000." And I laughed at him. I said, "How long has it been since you've been up here?" A year or two. I sent him pictures. All the windows broke out. All the toilets are busted. Everything's busted up. Holes in the drywall. And he said, do 45? I said, "I'll do 40 today. I'll send it to you today, right now." And we did. We ended up sending him $40,000 the next day. And I got that place and just remodeled it all. So those are the houses you got to find.
I found
but I was already living next door. I bought my grandfather's house from him. So.
What was it, Jared? 37 million
for that ranch? Yeah.
Well,
there's five.
There's five of us, so it's only like $6 million a piece.
Well, it's 18 bedrooms.
There you go.
In the main house.
Yep.
Yeah. That might fit half of Chris's kids.
One side of the family, anyway.
Yeah.
They had 2 more houses on the property. So
is that big one? It's like 211,000 acres or something.
I can't remember. It was down. Where was it at? It was down close to
no,
where
Dallas.
Jared and I went. Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Be
just got to
all
drive around and find the houses that no one's living in and no one's been in. I have 3 of them up here. I did try to call the one. It was a Mexican guy, and the one guy's like, you don't live here. I don't know why you guys keep calling me. I'm all, because your number comes up with him. So I gotta deal with that guy. And that's a cool little Santa Fe house. I don't think it's very big, but pretty cool. I need to go back, take every comment that Bone Piles made and make a TikTok with it.
Would make for an interesting one, that's for sure.
Well, you could tell when Bone Pile's drinking and when he's not drinking. So, let's get into, as bad as I hate to, I sent this video. I recorded the cats, which is the cats aren't trophies. I sent that video around. All the Game and Fish has it. A lot of people don't even know what's going on, but this is where networking is great. But let me just kick it off. I missed the first 15 minutes of it. Uh-oh. There we go. Something's going on here with my... Just let me in, man. There it is. My computer's being slow.
There's a short.
Let's kick it off with this first one. This is the first one. Oh, wait. Yeah, I want...
Are these going to have sound, or is this one of those deals like we just got to read their lips?
Dang it. My
You
internet.
never-
First, you just got to read their lips,
Everybody.
Yeah, you never know.
and then they get sound.
There we go.
And then you want to go back
Yeah,
to reading their
let
lips.
me check my alignment real quick.
All right,
Well,
okay.
their ideas. The crazy thing about this is they literally are telling us what they're going to do. You know, they're going to go back after Colorado again.
Yep.
You know, I sent this to all the Colorado boys over there. Let me make sure my shit's lined up here real quick. $165 a month for this internet.
Well, the bunny huggers are counter hacking us now.
It might be.
It's a cyber attack.
Speed alignment. Let me make sure. Yeah, I'm good. Okay, let me play this first little click. I got a bunch in here, but this first lady, all these first ones is she's a PhD. So she knows everything.
In what? Butterfly humping or what?
She does a lot of, she's in Colorado. I looked her up a little bit, and she does a lot of, the way I kind of read it was like almost like public psychology of how people react, and you can tell it's what she does.
Okay, so she's got a PhD in manipulating the uneducated.
That's
That's-
And that makes
exactly,
her an expert on wildlife.
That's the one you sent me, Chris.
yes. And I think I saved the one in here that, where does it say? I have one. They literally say that biology is shit and emotional. You'll hear it. Let me play this one. We'll talk about this first one.
Okay, so what were the most common reasons why people voted for Proposition 127? And these are in the order of most common reasons people gave. And so the first most common reason people voted for it was because they were against sport trophy hunting specifically. And I think this aligned with a lot of the messaging that was used around Proposition 127 is, this focus on trophy hunting. And so I would say, a good majority of the folks who voted for 127 said that they were against, hunting just to kill for sport hunting. They were okay with hunting for meat or protection, but they didn't understand the need for trophy hunting. So that's why they voted for it. The second most common reason was being generally against hunting or harming animals in any way. Third most common was positive attitudes towards animals, being a wildlife lover, having general positive attitudes towards mountain lions or other cats, followed by general moral or emotional arguments. And what I mean by these is, this belief that killing cats in the way that they're killed is immoral, cruel, horrible, unfair, or elicits other negative emotions. And then finally, after that, there was the belief that cats should have rights because they were native. They were here first. We live in their space and we should treat them well. And they need to be restored and protected. And we're encroaching on their territory. There were about 10 other reasons people voted for Prop 127 that you could read about in our report, but those were less commonly mentioned.
There you go. That's the 4. And if you look at the numbers, I think I do have the numbers in here where they're talking about the numbers. Like the numbers are high, even when. That's why I have some clips in here that say, well, what if they only ban dogs? What if they only ban this? Or what if they only ban that? But that's the people that are for. So what they're doing is they're assessing what they'll have to do next, how they're going to win it next. You're right. All these people are really kind of childish. It's kind of like they're not even in the junior high mentality. They're like grade school mentality. They're
like first grade,
pretty little kitties.
Yep.
Yes.
So she is
now, to be fair,
her title is the Animal Human Policy Center at Colorado State University. She has a PhD.
Yes.
Brainwashed idiot.
So she does.
Do you want to know, since we're talking about schooling, you want to know something funny? I was at the bar, and my bartender has a law degree, master's.
We're waiting.
Bartending. Doesn't mean you know anything.
Yep. There's all kinds of guys in prison with PhDs.
Well,
it doesn't make you a smart person. Don't make you make good decisions. It means you read a book for the text.
No.
But people like the title behind the name.
Well, it is. It's a weight. It's a weight. It's a paper. It's a shiny little badge. That's all it is. And it's a Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts badge. It's all it is. Because I kind of tried to look up her PhD, and it was basically like with psychology and community relations. And I think that's why they have her here, because she's trying to find out what we need to do. Oh, it gets better.
Her education has nothing to do with wildlife, the ecosystem, the environment, or any of the things that she's trying to get laws passed about. She's an entirely unrelated education. That's like getting your airplane pilot to operate on your arm. Doesn't make any damn sense.
Mm-hmm. And that's the people that are for. So let's go to the people who are against. She does break down the against. So here we go.
Okay, so what about the reasons that people voted against Proposition 127? The most common reasons, and actually you'll see that the top 3 reasons here were all quite similar. They're related to the same general theme, which was not actually specific to the content of Prop 127. It was just these broader arguments about who should be making decisions about wildlife management. So the most common reason people voted against Prop 127 was this concept of leaving it to the experts. And so people talked about how we have we have Colorado Parks and Wildlife for a reason. We pay, wildlife managers to make these decisions of how we manage cats. And so these kinds of decisions should be left to the biologists and wildlife experts. This was followed by this idea that cats are already managed well. People believed that big cats specifically, are managed well, so there's no changes needed. There's already a limit to the number of mountain lions that can be killed each year. CPW does a good job. That was followed by this concept of avoiding ballot box biology, and I think this term really arose from the wolf reintroduction effort in Colorado. And this was this idea that, the public should not be making wildlife management decisions via ballot initiatives. And so they should be, people would talk about how they thought that wildlife decisions should be science-based and voting on them is not based in science, and the public does not know enough to make these decisions. That was followed by a general trust in CPW. And then finally, actually explicitly mentioning the wolf reintroduction and people believing that led to negative outcomes. And it showed, that it wasn't going well, they thought, and it shows that there's a problem with using ballot initiatives for wildlife issues.
Facts.
Oh, really? Like, what did she
100%.
say there that was anything bad? Okay, let's go into the concept. Oh, the concept of, biology. Well, yeah, that's what they try to state. And then when it comes time they lose, they didn't. And then she goes into, oh, well, they don't trust.
Where's Chris?
What is it?
Jared's being a smart aleck.
Oh, so, and then they say, oh, well, they don't believe the ballot initiative because we got duped on the wolf deal. Well, yeah, we got duped on it. Like, why would you trust a ballot initiative with people? Look at Jared's froze on a smile. Oh man, I should have screenshot that. Why wouldn't we trust the department? She said that too. Oh, they trusted the department. Well, that's their job.
The entire idea of a ballot initiative is silly because, and you can look anywhere. You look at the wolves most recently. You can look at big ones. In the 1930s in Germany, they had a big old vote, and it didn't turn out well for nobody in the whole world.
Nope.
The public opinion is not the place to make decisions.
No.
Especially about wildlife management.
And they give away those psychology degrees or sociology or whatever degrees. They give those away. So
Psychotic degrees. So she's talking about we don't trust biology, or we trust biology. We trust the department, and we don't think ballot initiatives should be in with wildlife. And that's 100% true. What is your ballot initiative for? That's for laws in the city. That's for laws in, you know what I mean? Like, that's for laws in your, if you're talking about taxing the whole state, not what we're going to do with hunting, because people, unless there's a majority, and this is where the 134 prop came in good, to where they had to get signatures throughout the whole state. Because getting signatures in Phoenix where there's no mountain lions, or in the city of Tucson where there's no mountain lions, is absolutely ridiculous. That's like Arizonans voting for that'd be bad for them, for voting for bear hunting in California. Has nothing to do with us.
So
that's
California's
California's
mountain
problem.
lions in Tucson.
Not in the city. Well,
I saw about 5 or 6 of them standing on the corner.
No, they are. Yep. No, right in the middle city, and right in the middle of Carefree, Cave Creek, all these, Scottsdale. And when there's no water, the bears come down. But her arguments are she's pretty honest about it. It's all true. We don't think ballot initiative. We do trust our game and fish because that's their job. So
J-O-B,
now here, this is only a little 30-second clip where they're talking about how do we get them to vote different. So what are they doing now? This is where her psychology comes in, because this is where they start to do the manipulation in the wordplay.
Okay, so then we asked folks while we were there in person interviewing them, is if they would have voted differently if the initiative only focused on banning the use of dogs for hunting of mountain lions. And we're really interested in this because a lot of social science research shows that, that very specific language and focus can often change public perceptions and support a lot. And so what we found is when we asked people, 48% said no, 22% said maybe, and 28%.
So what they're trying to do is figure out if they word it different, if they can trick people into voting yes. Mm-hmm. And most people said no, they wouldn't have voted different.
And the numbers are high.
Yeah.
The numbers are up there for people who are like, no, I'm good. Now, this is where we go. That was how to vote different. They're like, here's where they want to change the vote. This is a short.
About a quarter of the sample that voted against Proposition 127 would have voted for it if it was only focused on banning the use of dogs for hunting and mountain lions.
They know that now. This is why they're doing a study. This is her job. She may not know what a cat does, but she knows what people do. And that's why she's here.
This here is exactly this is why ballot initiatives shouldn't even be a thing. The general public has no business making laws. We don't know what the heck we're doing. The average Joe is not educated enough to make laws or command armies or build skyscrapers. The average person shouldn't do those things. You can't be an electrician without the education. Why would they let you make a law? You work at the Whataburger, or like I sell diamonds. What do I know about making laws for tax rates in Mesa? I don't know nothing about that. None of my business. This is foolishness. It's a popularity contest, a manipulation contest, and a giant display.
That's all
of
politics are.
manufacturing. It's completely ridiculous. This isn't politics. This is private companies using outside money to get laws changed in a state. That is not our elected representatives making laws. I think we need to.
They're playing the voted in people, the
Yeah.
elected politicians.
Well,
they're playing
no.
them.
So I'm just getting into how they're trying to assess the situation, and this is for Colorado. So they already played it out for Colorado, and then what happened in Arizona? What did she say there? If they voted for dogs, some people say. So what they're trying to find out is how do we? You may not
They're-
like the
they're
whole
looking for
omelet,
the
so let
verbiage.
me take some ham out of it because you
Yeah.
don't like ham. Will you eat the omelet now? I might eat the omelet. What about onions? If you don't put
Yeah.
onions in it, I'll definitely eat the omelet. That's what they're doing. Is they're trying to figure this out. Just like we're trying to figure out how full of shit Tim B is.
It's just a manipulation tactic. It's completely ridiculous. And
And
if
it is a
anybody can't see-
condescending manner.
yeah,
It's a
yeah.
mind game. They're playing a mind game with the general public.
Now,
need
Pulling
to-
on their
I-
heartstrings, and they're saying, "Hey, we need to save this precious little line."
I'd like to
So
put
you're
all
not-
these clips from that study there, that webinar. I'd like to put those clips on the commercial and put it all over everybody's TV. They think
well,
you're
that
stupid.
my plan is to break it up, play a
Mhm.
clip, and then talk about it. And I'm actually talking to some people where it counts next week to do this. So we'll see what happens. I don't want to say nothing too much, but but that's her. Her whole spiel is really sweet, not to us. We know what's up, and we don't care about us. We don't care about them. It's like we've always said. It's those middle people that don't know what's going on, and they're listening to this. I got even better stuff. PhD has only gotten. They can put a doctor in front of their name. I worked with him for years. Tunnel vision, knowledge idiot. Some of those guys think because they have that PhD, they're right. And a lot of these guys on their side are not right. You can't use
Put
emotions.
them in jail all the time.
Yeah. So a philosophy doctor knows more about a wild. They think they do. I go through
They
the
know
comments before I
more
hit the
about a
next one.
wildlife biologist's brain than they do anything.
Yeah, and there's you hear these stories of the what's your name, Melanie? Buddy just did a podcast. Him and Kobe. They were talking about the workshop and how the one lady was up there. You probably remember this, Derek. And she said, I thought I was hunting with the houndsman, and this guy would say it's a subadult female, has a blue butthole, whatever he said. And she's like, you're just trying to impress me. Get to the tree. And she's like, holy crap, this guy was dead nuts. And there is state biologist, PhD, and then there's hound biologist, houndsman biologist. And a lot of those houndsmen know more about what a lion will do because it don't have a tracking collar on this lion. He has to know where it's going to go. So if you I don't want to diss the state biologist, but can that state biologist go catch a lion like a guy's been running lions for 30 years? Can he say, or are you so busy looking at a GPS of the lion or finding out? And it's a tool, but that's why I'm saying these hounds, there's no reason we shouldn't have some sort of, I'm not even going to do their game. I got stuff going and I don't want to mention it here.
There's a time and place for both, the hounds and the GPS collars, different studies for different things.
Well, you can't get the collars on them without the hounds 90% of the time, unless you're using. Well, you know that they can't catch them without the dogs because they're snaring them, which is not legal for anybody else.
Except that girl. You say that. Remember that girl said we had to run them up a tree before. They would jump them bears and scream at them and run them up a tree. Remember that girl? That's kind of funny. But how you going to do that to lion? You know what I mean? You can kind of, when you got it somewhere, you go to California, I bet you can walk through the woods and tree a bear without a dog.
Well,
There's so many bears. You should probably just jump up.
That study that I think her name was Emily was talking about was in New Jersey, and they wouldn't let them use dogs even on their study. So they had to run at them and scare them up trees so they could dart them and put the collars on them.
That's the way they are here.
Yep. Get out of here. Oh,
I just make it look
better.
Look good. You know, I put a dog under them.
Yeah. Well, you gotta build suspense, Jeremy. Oh, Jeremy, I thought you'd be up super steaks this week.
No, sir.
No.
That's for rich people that don't have real jobs. I'm saving my time to come back to Arizona.
There are some state biologists that are Bart, George. I mean, some of those guys are no joke. Yep. I'm not saying, they're all bad or good or bad or whatever, but anyway.
Bart's about as legit as they come. I like Bart.
Ours are pretty good too. Our bear biology.
So here's where they start breaking it down a little bit and saying, oh, what about this? So now this is where they're going to try to chip at the tree. They're going to try to take a little piece out of us. Death by 1,000 cuts right here. This is their plan.
Now, how about if it was focused only on banning fur trapping of bobcats? Well, 48% said no, 19% said maybe, and 31%, so slightly more, said yes. And this has kind of the same caveats as the previous one as well. So slightly more would have supported it with only that ban.
Hey, Chris, did you notice that when she's talking about the ones that said yes, well, that could have been slightly higher. That's just a vague number.
Yeah.
You should try
that's
to
the manipulation.
Be more than what it is, so that it sounds like they actually have something to win on.
That's exactly that's the manipulation right there, to where they're like, check this out, guys. If we go after this, give us some money, give us $20, $30. We're going to go after bobcats. We're going to at least protect the bobcats from trapping the fur trade. And so that goes into their manipulation.
The thing that she's not stating is it'll take more than a 27% return off of who said no to make them win. It takes more than that.
Who are you talking to, though?
They're pushing for funding.
Or are you talking to Susie Q that just got out of Flagstaff College?
That's who she's talking to, because they're brainwashable. You're not brainwashable.
Let me see here. Now, there's this other lady. So that first lady that talked, she's the PhD. She come in, and let's just break her down real quick before we go. Hey, this is for 127, blah, blah, blah. And then she goes into against, blah, blah, blah. And then she goes into the numbers. How can we get them to vote different? And she goes through that, making it like, but it's all 48, 49%, and that wouldn't change their vote. You know what I mean? So, and then it goes into, well, what if we just go after dogs, or what if we just go after bobcats? So this next lady, this cracks me up a little bit. So here's what she thinks about hunters. This is what she says about hunters.
When you see a hunter out, that hunter is looking for the healthiest, the most robust elk, the most robust moose, not the moose that's laden with ticks. Not the elk that is dying from chronic wasting disease. So they are going to select and remove the most important genetics from the herd. That genetic, the healthiest, is what's going to enable those herds to survive into our changing climate.
We don't mind them killing to eat. So why would you kill something sick to eat? Obviously, we want something healthy to eat. Now,
because the wolves and the lions.
Why is she saying this about the hunters? She's
sick.
Well, they can manipulate anything they want to say. It's just.
Let me just play the next clip. Let me just play the next clip.
Yeah.
Well, I'll play this next clip, and you'll know what's up.
Wolves and cougars keep elk and deer herds healthy. Now that's an amazing concept. By killing, they actually enhance health. They do that by removing selectively the vulnerable, sick, or old animals.
This lady don't know what she's talking about. Not one single bit.
Well,
You
can
don't need
take
to
all
though,
the-
right?
it's
Who
all
is she
about
talking to?
wordplay.
Yeah,
It's all about
she's
wordplay.
never
Exactly.
really- She's never.
Emotional?
It's all
It's
a
just
manipulation game.
It's
But
just
we
like
can
when they
prove that.
say you can't shoot a deer with a bow anymore because you guys cripple 25% of them. And then you get rid of bows, and then you go to rifles, and then all of a sudden, well, now it's not ethical because you can shoot from 200 yards.
Yeah, it's all a manipulation game. But we can
No
fight
matter
on.
what you say, no matter what you say to them, they're always going to have a rebuttal.
Yeah, we can't fight them
Well,
on the
here-
gameplay, but we can beat them with science. That's what we have to use to win with. We can't beat
can
them
fight
with
'em.
feelings.
Let me ask you something.
We have to do the same thing they do. We have to
We
take
can't
these
play that
clips
game. Though.
and
We-
yeah, we can.
We can only beat them
We
with
can.
truth. We can't beat them with feelings. We can't appeal to Cindy Lou fresh out of college. We're not going to make her feel like we need to shoot
I don't
bears.
know. Look what Joe Rogan did to the hunting industry. He blew it up.
So yeah,
But
I
that's
mean, you
the
can
difference.
talk to people into it.
That's the difference between Joe Rogan and Steve
Chris
Linnell and us. You know, we're not those guys. If Joe Rogan started drinking his own piss, people would start doing it. You know what I mean? But we don't have that kind of pull.
Bone Pile would do it if we did it.
Well, that's fair.
No. I'm gonna
I'm
let
just
you.
kidding, Bone
I'm gonna
Pile.
let you go first, Chris.
Well, so you can manipulate it because there's plenty of videos and pictures of wolves tearing the ass out of elk or moose or deer as
And
they're
healthy,
alive and healthy,
big
right?
males.
Well, even not, sorry, Chris, I'll let you finish, but even not tearing the ass out of it, they will take a pregnant elk
Mhm.
and rip her guts open and eat the fetus and leave her to die and not touch
30
her.
of them. 30 of them, not just one. They don't just say, "Hey guys, oh man, that one has a lot of ticks. That's going to be a real good one." No. That whatever they come across, they kill. And we can play that manipulation as well. We can play that. There's too many wolves. Look what they're doing to this deer population.
Or they'll
You
eat
know,
the calf as soon as they come out.
I
Or
think even on
before.
this, you guys have to watch this whole video, and it's hard to watch, but you have to watch it, and they're telling you exactly what's coming next. What we have to do is get the word out to the public, and we have to do that mental play, and not to us, not in the hunting groups, but in the mom groups, in the dad groups, in the outdoorsy groups, because I seen pictures or memes or on everywhere else where there's a bare landscape. They say, "Oh, look, deer and elk had chomped this all down." And then, "Oh, look, they put wolves here," and they show a bunch of brush overgrown. And I'm thinking, you guys are literally condoning murder. They like to use that word in this. If you pay attention in this video I post, there is the word murder in there. They call us murderers. So those wolves, we don't go out and kill 30 elk. If I went out and killed 30 elk, I wouldn't have to. I could bottle that and not have to eat for the next 30 years.
And feed dogs for cheap.
It's going to get used. There ain't a piece of that elk that my wife killed I didn't use. The bones, the everything went, the organs, it all went to my dogs. Anything I didn't, and I don't really cut up ribs because there's not much on them. So when I do, I cut my ribs up in pieces and give them to my dogs, bones and all. Leg bones, dogs. There's nothing that goes to waste in an elk. But a wolf, take one pack, they'll kill an elk, like you said, rip the fetus out, go to the next one.
Well, how many
I
times
will
did you say
post
that?
this on azwda.com. I'll put a link on the front page of this. I will do that. I was
How many
supposed to do
times
it, but I was
you say
cutting this video up.
like we're a grizzly or a lion or something will come through and just wipe out a whole flock of sheep and eat none of them. You know what I mean?
I mean, I understand what you're saying, but at the same point, you got to be careful how you portray that as well,
Mm-hmm.
because that gets rights taken away and gets lions and bear tags taken up, and you got to watch how you portray some of that stuff, because that is what started
It's a
the
double-edged
detriment.
sword.
That's what started the detriment that happened in Utah, plain and simple.
I agree with that. Like, because if we start playing this manipulating word game like they do, then it's going to look at the politics in our country. Nobody trusts either party because they're both bullshitting. All right, so that's what I'm saying. If we only fight with truth, we can beat them with true facts. If we start playing this wordplay game, they're going to show that we're playing the wordplay game, and so what? We show they're playing the wordplay game, and then nobody's going to defend either of us, and people just won't vote on the stuff, and then it's us versus the rich people. They can buy
Well-
more votes than we can.
The difference I see in that though
Oh,
is
shit.
yes,
My bad.
they play the word game on skewed and bullshit facts. You want to play the word game with us as far as science and family and dogs and stuff like that. I can
Facts.
produce evidence. I can produce video that's not stolen, that is not skewed, that is just raw footage of all of that stuff, which they can't. Everything they produce and put out there that is video or pictures are shit they have stolen.
Yeah.
I mean,
There
whether
is-
you call
there's-
it stealing or not, because they pull it off of YouTube, and technically, if you put it on YouTube, it's public. But it's stuff that they have taken that is not their own, where we can produce exact footage and produce stuff that is original and not doctored, that they cannot.
Yeah, that's what I mean. We just got to be careful and make sure we're being straight up. You know, that's what I mean.
Well, you got to
You
put
know-
that. When I talk about manipulation, I talk about the dog getting swiped and falling off the cliff, and you walking around the cliff, and it's a 4 foot, and they're right there again.
Definitely.
That's what you have to. You have to know the guy who has that video with all them dogs in the truck, and he comes out, plays video, and says, "We literally moved 1 mile away." I had a guy text me and said, "I think that's my buddy," and he moved a mile away from camp. That's what we need.
It's like the video, not this webinar, but the one that you did a while ago that you streamed on TikTok. I knew the dogs in that video from the minute I saw them, because I recognized the brand, and I know those were stolen videos off of YouTube. Plain and simple. I knew who it was. I know where he lives, and I know where he hunts. And guy's a stand-up hunter that doesn't do unethical stuff. But all they showed was his dogs barking at a tree. They didn't show anything else. They just stole it and they twisted it in their own way, which is hard, because social media is a double-edged sword. It's great to show your highlight reel, and it's great for people like me to spread my business, but it's also a terrible, terrible thing when you put stuff out there that you shouldn't, that they can take and manipulate in their own way. And they'll even take a good, tasteful video that one of us put out and manipulate it anyway. So it's so disheartening and disgusting that it has come to that, plain and simple.
Yeah.
But I think it's important that we got to control the narrative. So if we're flooding the market with good stuff, you know, like you look at some guys like Kurt, they're not using Kurt's videos, and he's got a bunch of Western scenes they could use. But the reason they don't use it is because as soon as they do it, 10,000 people already saw that video. Somebody's going to share the link, and you'll watch the whole thing. And it takes the wind out of their deal. They're only using, like, a lot of that stuff was from the late 90s. You know, they're using old video.
Yeah.
They're not using. So if we can control the narrative, if we're building that's why, you know, we got to build our fan base. We gotta show what's going on in real life. That way, as many people get in front of it as possible, then these twists that they try to throw at us don't work. You know, just like the dog that fell off. I was hanging on to that bear. If they would have come out and went live with that dog and been like, "See, here's old Buster,
absolutely.
doing good," that would have been nothing, you know.
Exactly, but at the same point, I understand the guy that owned the dogs didn't post that video. It was other people in the
Yeah,
hunting group that did that weren't educated enough to know that, you know what, some bitch, that shouldn't be out there.
And
it
that got
shouldn't. I mean,
25 million
honestly,
views that quick.
honestly, that's a gritty some bitch. I mean,
Yep.
that's an alligator that's going to make a bear climb, but at the same point, there's certain things you need to keep to yourself, and that's on us to
Be
vet
careful who you share with.
to vet the people that
Yeah.
honestly come with you. And if
Yep.
you look and see someone videoing something that is a little here or there, you say, you know what, you need to get rid of that.
Right. You know, by the time
it's on us to police ourselves and to take care of ourselves. And the hard part is you have those guys that are just going to be like, sorry, I'm going to post what I want, and it hurts us. It does.
Those guys in Texas that, you know, think that they need to show everybody.
At the same point, who am I to tell you what you can post on your own page? Like I get it. It can be detrimental. It can be good. It can be this or that. Who am I to tell you what to do with your life? And that's the hard part and the fine line that also can help us come together, but can divide us so far that it hurts us.
Yeah, that's right. Dustin's good at this. Dustin Clark for Congress.
Oh, hell no. No.
Commissioner.
Don't do it, Dustin.
But it's
that's what we need to get Dustin on the commission. Get little Jeremiah in the governor's office. We'll be all right.
I think they talk about Colorado Commission in that too, about getting people on the commission.
Yeah, I mean, they want to infiltrate anywhere and everywhere they can, and I think anyone that's in those places that does their due diligence on someone is going to see right through that. But like I say, houndsmen.
Somebody in the hunting community needs to run for governor of Colorado, because the governor holds the power over the commission. That's what we need. We need like a.
You better be a Democrat. You better be a Democratic hound hunter then if you're going to go into Colorado.
Yeah.
Well, that ain't nothing but changing it on paper.
It's easy, yeah. All you gotta do, see, Jared's gonna buy him a house in Colorado, run for governor, and then the story will get leaked about him and Dustin's lover's quarrel for sleepover, and he'll get voted right in.
You gotta get You gotta post him with
I'd
the
fit in
dude.
pretty good because I was homeless for a little bit. I'd fit right in.
Dude, I tell you what, I showed up and that sumbitch had black and tans tied to everywhere and anywhere, and I was not getting close to that.
How much lower? How much lower can you go besides snow hunting?
You got to feel special and privileged because all I saw was two big Walker dogs and a blue Jip.
No,
that was a black and tan.
Dude, I tell you what, Jeremy, though,
she looked like a blue dog.
The one dog he talked the most, two dogs he talked about the most to me were both red tick. Made me kind of happy.
Well, that's what his new dog is, a red tick.
Yep.
Old Rooster, and then that new dog, old T-Bone.
Yeah.
He's a nice dog. I mean, Jared done good with that dog. He's a nice dog. But I mean, it's just so different, and the narrative can be twisted and stuff so much that it's hard because you have an old generation and a new generation, but also you have this young generation that's out to prove himself. And so these three that mix sometimes are good, but sometimes it's nothing but throwing kerosene on a fire.
Yeah.
And we hurt ourselves instead of helping ourselves.
Yeah. And then we start, trying to ban people from hunting in our states and singling ourselves out, and
here we go.
Because somebody else is in my spot.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a segue. There's your segue right there.
Somebody else caught that line out there on that public land, and I didn't get him caught yesterday, so they're cheating.
Well, hold up, Derek. Hold up. Now, you remember what you told me at the commission's meeting, right?
What's that about out-of-state guides?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
ban
If
them all.
if he's a non-resident guide, he should know the country as good as you, right? That's what you claim.
Monetization of wildlife, bud. That's my
no.
issue with that's my thing. That's what I said a while back. I
Well,
mean, if we're talking
why would
about-
I go in? Why would I go in and knock everything the F out if I'm going to be back in there the next year to make money off of it?
Yep. I agree.
But that see that.
Why
doesn't
would
make
I
any
do that?
sense.
I'd shoot myself in the foot. It's just like cattle grazing. You're going to put a certain amount of head on a certain amount of range and not go over because you got to have enough grass for the next year. It's the same thing.
Mhm.
The biggest issue I have ever had guiding is with weekend warriors hating me and going in after a lion that I'm after, or not even. They could have caught a female thinking I'm after her, but since they beat me to that lion, they're going to knock it down and show me that they beat me to a lion, or I couldn't even be on that lion. I could have been chasing a tom and say, hey, I'm on a lion in here. And then that same day, they cut a female track and be like, well, I got to get it before he does. I'm going to let the sumbitch go.
The difference is these big outfits are going to come in and kill 4, 5, 6, however many. Right? Your non-resident hunter, single guy, is going to come in and kill 1, maybe 2 if his buddy comes with him.
Okay, now you bring that in, so that's just
Not
one
if
hunter,
the tag.
right? That's just
Not
one
if
hunter.
the tag. Not if the tag limit's 2 per person.
Okay, but it's just one hunter. So that's one drop in the bucket, right?
Yeah. Go ahead.
So that's just one drop in the bucket. One hunter, one tag. One hunter, 2 tags. One guide, 20 tags. Now, put that non-resident into the whole state. How many non-residents are coming in? Now is it 1 hunter, 1 tag times 200 people? 1 tag times 20 people? Or is it 102 tags times however many people?
My thing is they're not
the one drop in the bucket's not a big deal.
They're not trying to get rid of. They're not trying to get rid of too many non-residents. They're trying to get rid of non-residents that don't pay them to take them hunting.
Well, let's talk about. Let's just talk about Nevada's. Let's talk about their numbers real quick. Jared.
All right, I bring my own dogs.
Have they made a have they made a quota? Have they ever made a quota?
No.
Okay, this is my issue. Listen, I've already been accused of shitting on people. I've been told to lose numbers, and I haven't even really took a side on this. I've talked to people today that said we should do that in Arizona, right? And I said, well, let's think about it. If we did do it in Arizona, if I was to do this, I was told I shit on people on this, on what they're doing, and that if I did this in Arizona, they would. I'm not even going to say names. Everybody knows who I'm talking about, I bet. He knows who I'm talking about. And if he wants to get on the show, send me a text. I'll put you on the show. If I did this in Arizona, I wouldn't just be sneaky. I would not go to meetings. I would go.
Now he froze up.
Oh,
Yep.
dude. He looks like he's smiling like a donut too. Somebody take a screenshot of that shit.
And it says Pat right beside his head.
Can you hear me now?
Oh,
Yeah.
God,
man,
dang, I don't know what happened there. My mic just went.
You froze with a big old O face.
You know that? Hang on. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Oh, that was
Because
true.
my hang on, I got to reset my audio. Speaker.
Do you know who'd be a good person to bring on for this?
Oh, I don't know. The guy who put the petition through? What?
Yeah.
That would be the perfect guy. Okay,
He
let me
won't.
I'm heading to his house. I'm heading to his house right now.
Are you talking about the guy who called you and said they're after you?
No, Rowdy. I'm going to his house right now.
Oh shit! I was gonna send him a damn link.
My whole thing is if they haven't met a quota ever, it's not about the line numbers. It's not about we're killing too many, this and this. It's all about
Let me
it's
get
all
about
about
the quotas.
trying to
If
line
we're going to
people
talk
up.
about quotas, we're going to talk about quotas. Let me get after them because the quotas in Nevada are different than all the other states in the West. It's statewide quota. So if you have one mountain range with 30 lions on it, you can knock out all 30 out of that mountain range, and now it's dead. Won't be a lion. The population is going to be decimated for a couple of years off of it, right? Can we all agree on that?
Yeah.
Yep.
So the east side of the state gets the best snow. We all know that. Next to Utah, next to Idaho, and north next to Oregon. So everyone knows the easiest way to catch a lion is in the snow. Where do you think everyone goes when it snows, including non-residents? To that side of the state. Unless they're locals like me, when I lived here, that I hunted my stupid devil's armpit that it got 1 or 2 snows a year.
Well, not everybody's as hard as you are, Jared. And I'm not disagreeing with you on that fact.
But I'm
What
just
I'm
saying, there might only be 245 lion quota in the whole state. The whole state, 245. Well, if you kill 160 out of a 200-mile radius, and then the other state only knocks out 40, so that's 200 lions. Well, that one corner, it's dead.
Well, yeah, you're right.
And the other
But
side's doing all right.
But that's not what the petition's about. The petition's not about too many lions getting killed in one zone. The petition's about too many lions getting killed in one zone when somebody's not getting paid for them to be killed. If they were concerned with too many
There's
lions
guys
killed
on
in
that
zone,
petition that aren't even guys.
if there was
There's
too many
guys on
lions,
that petition that aren't even guys.
if it was about too many lions killed in a certain zone, they would push for zone-specific quotas. But they don't want that. They don't care about that. They want to kill as many as they want right there, while nobody else can do it unless they cut them a check. They're not limiting non-resident tags. They're limiting non-resident guys bringing their own dogs and doing it without cutting people check. It's entirely.
Well, Idaho did the same thing there, and that's so guys can have a paycheck.
Well,
it's not like they're making millions off a lion hide.
Guys' paychecks don't have anything to do with wildlife biology, and that's the only thing that I think should have anything to do with game management and any of the rules involved. If the signs don't support it, it has no place there. It's no different than the Jaguars' favorite place got took away from him, and we need to get rid of dog hunting.
Well, absolutely.
It's the same thing.
But what I'm saying is it's not just guys pushing this. There are non-guys on that petition.
There's non-houndsmen on that petition that support it.
Yes.
Yep.
So let me finish my rant.
You know who else supports it? Wildlife for All and CAT. Because when we get divided, next step is everybody's done.
Segregation is one of our enemies. But let me finish what I was saying. The thing is, if you're putting out a petition and you're a hound, and personally me, if they did that, if I was doing this, I would go to every houndsman I know. I would try to talk to everybody and be like, hey, what do you think about this? How can we do this? You have to work with people. You can't just be sneaky and put it through and then not go on and explain yourself. That's the problem I have with it. It seemed kind of sneaky. It
is the way it came about.
And that's what I don't like about it. I would go talk to people. I've talked to people about this. I didn't get on here and say, hey, those guys are idiots. But you aren't very smart when you're trying to segregate. And especially when you got a state right next to you about to open up some great hunting.
Yep.
It will open up. I've always said this. I've been saying this for 2 years. So what are those guys going to do? What is Californians going to do to the Nevadians?
But let's see the other side of this. And I'm not saying I'm for it. I'm not saying I'm against it. I have used both ways, and I'm going to keep those to myself. But at the same point, Nevada has a state next to it that allows nothing, that does
Mhm.
replenish some of it, but on the northern edge of it, it has houndsmen that will come into Nevada because it's an open state, but Nevadans can't go into that state. They can't go into Idaho unless they draw, right? But also, they have a state to the east of it that's Utah, which Utah is a complete shit show right now. So Utah is so decimated that all the guys that live along that border are I mean, honestly, are going to go check Nevada. If they don't find nothing good, then they're going to go hunt Utah. And Idaho and Nevada, Idaho and Utah are doing both the same thing to that eastern edge, which is where Jared's talking about, where there's good snow, where there's good range. And so these guys are doing that, and that's the pressure that these Nevadans are feeling. And so, yes, do I feel for them? Yes. Do I agree 100% with what they're doing? No. But do I feel like they have a valid point? Yes. And so that's why I'm conflicted. I see it both ways. I used to live in Utah, and I used to pay to draw to go hunt in Idaho. I understand the significance of it, but I also hated living in Utah where any out-of-stater could come hunt in my backyard.
Should
Because,
be a
yes,
reciprocal deal, right?
yes, I understand that they're federal lands. There's federal lands that anyone should have access to, plain and simple, yes. But that animals themselves are managed by the state, and it's state specific, it's state quotas, and it's state people that it affects. Like I love that these guys from back east want to come do their bucket list, and I support that. But at the same point, so many of their bucket lists affect what I do every day. It can, in a way, if that makes sense. Like, I'm not trying to cut them out. I'm not trying to praise them. I'm stating both sides here and trying to be like as neutral as possible, but have my own opinion. And so, like, yeah, I do see it both ways. That one, it's hard to let every non-resident into your backyard, whether it's money driven or not. I take the money out of it, and I just look at it as the aspect of houndsman with houndsman. And it's hard. I mean, if you're a guy that's lived in an area your whole life, been able to consistently catch lions, and then whether or not they beat you to the canyon or not, you see a decline in lions in your area because of out-of-state people, it's going to bug you.
Oh,
Whether you should throw a fit about it or not, that's on certain people. Like, I get that. I do. And so I think there's got to be a better solution. Do I think they have the right solution? No. Do I think there's one that will work for everyone? Yes. Do I know what it is? Hell no, because I'm not that educated. And I'll be straight up honest with that. So, like, I see both sides. I see Jared's side. I see the guy that put the bill together side. Do I think both of them are wrong? Yes. Do I think Derek's wrong? Yes. Do I think I'm right? No, because I don't have the great solution for it. I see it all, and I try to listen to all sides, and I think there is a great solution, and Chris is right. Talking to everyone.
there was no talks.
Yeah. Talking to everyone, bringing people in from here, bringing knowledge in from Idaho, bringing knowledge in from Utah. There's hound associations all over that could have been brought in and say, hey, how do we best remedy this to make it all better? Would be a better way to go about it.
Well,
That's how I feel.
The issue is that, Dustin, you're addressing a problem that's not the one they're addressing. They're not concerned with the decrease in lines. They're not concerned with any of that. It's not about out-of-state hunter numbers. It's about how many out-of-state hunters aren't hiring a guy.
Okay, well, I'm going to say this, and I'm going to be an ass about it. Have you talked to the people that have put it together and asked their addresses? No, you're assuming, plain and simple.
They won't talk to anybody.
Did you
That's
tell
he
them?
did. I was
What?
told to lose this number.
Yeah.
I know what Chris was told to lose, and I see that. But to have the opinion that you have you reached out to someone and say, hey, I'd like to have your opinion on this. I want to know why you did this. Because
Well-
like Jared said, there is people on there that signed that petition that helped draft it that are non-guides, that are just straight hunters that have seen their backyard decimated time and time again by out-of-state people. Not for money. These are guys that just hunt for pleasure, that turn around and they go out and run a female and they leave her alone. And they catch her time and time again to train dogs, leave her alone. And the out-of-state guy comes in, whacks her first chance. Tell me that's not going to irritate you.
Oh, that's
So-
annoying.
It's
That
not
is
going to irritate me.
that is horrible.
That has nothing to do with money.
It's not going to irritate me. Like, these guys want to talk about hunting
That's-
pressure. They should go hunt where Jeremy's from, or go hunt where I grew up. Tell me
That's
about
because,
hunting pressure.
you know what? Because
Yeah,
you're from
but we
back
don't
east
have-
and you don't understand it. You're from
I
back
don't know
east.
because
You don't have a recognition of what happens out west. Plain and simple, because you haven't lived here your whole life.
we
you
had
don't
to get
understand
over
what
it
we go
50
through.
years
No.
ago.
No,
Like,
you
you don't own
understand
the
it. You
public
can't
land.
pretend to.
I don't need to understand an archaic way of thinking to kick
don't have-
people out
You
because
don't
you
understand.
want to control the public property. That's foolish. That's
It's
not the
not-
way we do things
It's
in
not
America.
controlling public property.
That's exactly what it is.
Not really, because
No.
it's one little area that gets snow. What about the whole west side?
But
the
they're
whole
not. They're
state.
not trying to limit the numbers killed in one area. They're trying to limit. The only thing that this bill does is limit how many guys can hunt in the state without paying a guide. That's why I
And
have
that's
the thought.
that's not just it. It's
No.
only
What
40
else does
dog
it say?
people, period.
Not
Not just 40 guides.
No. It limits you bringing outside dogs. Correct. It doesn't limit you coming in and hiring somebody to use their dog.
Okay,
Well, it doesn't-
but let
it
me get
doesn't-
this straight. So it is more important for a guy with dogs to come into the state and kill a lion than a guy that saved up 6 years doing road construction to get his lions.
Who said that?
He's asking that.
He's asking your opinion on that.
No.
Yeah.
I think that it's not more important one way or the other. If you're concerned with too many lions being killed, then get zone specific quotas. But the only thing this does is make it to where if you want to hunt lions in that state, you have to hire someone, which I don't like. You're forcing people to use a business avenue. That's a special interest group. That's against the entire model of the American way. That's like that's scam.
If all these lions are getting killed, why hasn't the quota been filled?
That's what I'm
That's
saying.
my
If,
that's my question is
if
if the
there's
quota was getting filled and you couldn't hunt no more, I would understand it.
yeah,
Just like in Unit 1, the dogs got blamed, Unit 1 Arizona, for all the bears
Mhm.
getting killed and come out as only 21% dogs. There's no reason for me to go in and say, hey, no more spot and stock guys. Or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or no more dog guys.
Yeah.
Like they
That's the same
changed it.
thing.
It's changed this year. And another one of their arguments was the Utah guys are coming over whacking them, taking them back over, claiming them. Because
that's
there's
a
no
problem.
limit there.
Utah.
Now, that's not a reason either, in my
Nope.
opinion. I'm not going against the petitioner. I'm just stating my opinion, just like Dustin, all of us. If that's the case, you know who's doing it. These are houndsmen. We know who the outlaws are. We know who has cameras. We know who has bait. We know who has canned hunt still. It didn't all go away. Then turn them in.
Yep.
There is
turn 'em
no honor in not being a snitch these days, because we're such on the balance on the fence that I talked to that lady when I talked to her 20, 30 minutes, and she said hobby hunters. And in this webinar, the same thing. They talk about the bad apples. It's just, you can't just take, someone was just telling me the bad if you listen to W, Buddy, and Colby, they talk about the lady who asked the question about what about the bad apples? What about the bad apples? So the petitioner is taking these bad apples and punishing the whole state. Do I hunt Nevada? No. But I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. And I've been told this, and they're mad at the petitioner. I don't really care. The guy is like, honestly, he was immature about it and lose my number. And I don't trust you. You don't trust me about it. I never said a bad word about the dude. I don't care. I get what he's coming from. I just think there was a better way to go about it. He should have went about it. He should have got hold of 100 houndsmen, asked 10 questions, and did their little survey that these anti-hunters do, and said, "What do you think about this?" And if the 80% of them are saying, "Yeah, let's just do it," then get on podcast. Don't hide from anybody. What are you hiding from?
Well,
That's like cowardly stuff.
That's why it's it's like a special interest maneuver, man. It's not good.
No,
It's
something
segregation.
different.
Does anybody know the actual numbers of non-resident hunters that came into the state of Nevada last year?
Or how many lions were
non-resident-
killed?
I mean, that's everybody across the board. That's not just
Yep.
houndsmen. That's just non-resident lion hunters.
I don't know the numbers, but I think non-residents killed about 48% of the lions last year. Now,
I mean,
whether
where?
those non-residents were guided or their own dogs, I have no clue.
But
I don't know which. I don't know. I can't break that non-resident number down because that's a factor in it. Is were these non-resident guys guided, or was it a non-resident houndsman?
Well, that's no way to break that down. But what I'm getting at is most of your resident guys, whether they're guides or pleasure hunters, they're not out there just to knock them down unless they're competing with you. That you two are in the same area, like you were talking about earlier. Whereas the non-resident, like y'all said, it's a bucket list item. Most of them aren't coming but once in a lifetime. Well, they're coming out there to knock something down. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
some of those guys don't care about size either. They just see a lion in a tree and they want to take it.
And like Jeremy said, it's a bucket list. It's a once in a lifetime thing for them, and I understand it from their point, but and I'm really not trying to pick a fight here, but they need to also kind of see it from our side.
Both sides. You have to take both sides.
If that makes sense, because one, Jeremy lives where there's no lions. Not going to catch a lion probably in his lifetime in his home state, especially
maybe a black panther,
especially in the what do they call a parish where he lives, right?
Yeah.
I swear, parish just sounds like some kind of church thing.
Amish kind of.
It's free.
So for Jeremy to come out here and go run his own dogs, whether he hunts snow or dirt, and Jeremy catches that first lion, it's going to be hard for him with a kill tag in his pocket to not want to do that. Because one, it's a major accomplishment. It's something he's never going to see at home. And it's a bucket list item for him to hold or kill a mountain lion. Plain and simple, right, Jeremy?
I have two opinions on that, Dustin.
You go right ahead, because that's why
my shit eaters tree it. You dang right it's going to get knocked down. Now, if Jared's, if yours, if Chris's, Casey's, or Derek's tree it, and it's a little cat, hell no. You can call Casey Fair and ask him what I told him.
Here's a question.
Go ahead, Chris.
Why didn't the petitioners go after the 72-hour check when there's a lot of lions killed in snares?
I mean,
Because it's not about how many.
If you're worried about lions, I'm saying if you're worried about lions, should they have supported that, or I don't know. We don't use snares in Arizona.
No, well,
but I hate.
Now you're starting to go check trappers.
It appears that the petition is entirely about one thing and has nothing to do with how many lions are killed. Because this petition will not limit the number of lions killed. It will
guys
limit
in trouble
the
now.
number of lions that are killed by people who didn't pay for it. That's the issue I have with it. If they want to lower the quota, if they want to make non-residents only get 10% of the tag, now that I understand. That makes sense. But when you say 1 million non-residents can come by tags as long as they pay a guide, but if they don't pay a guide, they can't come. That's where it starts to get funny. That's you are legislating a business to make enough money so they can stay in business. And when your business has to be protected by law to make it make money for you, then you should probably get a different job.
I feel like there's a lot of outlaw shit going on over there. I feel that the petitioner sees a lot of outlaw shit going on there in his area. I
And
I
he might. I
agree
don't
with
know.
the
I've never
petitioner.
hunted it.
Like, if I could kick every houndsman out of state out of my state, so I had more, it would be great.
I got somebody here in the front seat.
Oh, look, there's
Rowdy
lovers. There's
himself.
lovers that
Oh, good Lord.
yeah.
That right there is what's
Yeah.
going to get that governor's win for
That's
Joe.
like governor.
I'm not
Yeah,
gonna-
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say anything, but there's gonna be a lot of
Yeah.
that going on.
Oh,
Yeah.
here, I'm not even
Yeah.
talking.
yeah.
But and so Derek, I see what you're saying and I agree it, and I'm gonna admit my own fault. I haven't
Where's your
looked
shoes at?
through
You got your kite out already?
petition in itself. I looked through the first draft of it. I haven't seen the final drafts where they've added more.
That's
But
Jared.
I also I know the guys in
Yeah, we got
Utah
food. We need to cook
that
it
have,
though.
that have dealt with the
You're
detriment
so hungry.
of every out-of-stater having free reign. So, do I think out-of-staters should have free reign? No. Do I still think that they should have an opportunity? Plain and simple. Like I said,
You have
I'm
to
not
pay to
for
play,
it.
right?
I'm not. Well, yeah. And,
Like I said in the first talk,
Yes,
$1,000 out of state tag. I think that's a great idea.
and I'm not even
Get your jack
for
in the
that.
house.
Like I'm
We'll
not.
go to Wyoming.
Like I really think that there is a better solution that a lot of people in a good environment that sit down and talk like this, not so much publicized, but Utah, Nevada, Idaho, California, all can get together and say, hey, what will best work for Nevada, but still include the rest of us? Because
I agree with that.
Yes, as Idaho has set the precedent that Nevada is going for. I went and hunted Idaho. I paid
Hold on,
the
I'm coming in.
money I put in for the draw for it. It costed over $800 just for me to go hunt that state, and I had no intention of killing. But I also wasn't someone from the East Coast that does not have lions in my state, or someone that doesn't have bears in their state. So I was going solely just because it was good hunting. It was with friends, and it was a little bit better than where I had the hunting opportunity in Utah. But I've also, like I say, I've seen the detriment that this stupid shit that is going on in Utah has hurt lifetime generation houndsmen. 4th or 5th generation outfitters are suffering because of non-regulated out-of-state hunters that not so much just come in and kill everything, but they kill subadults. They kill females and hurt the breeding population for someone that lives in that area and has made their living, not just this generation, but 3 generations before. So like I said, I see it from a huge perspective, and I wish I had the most perfect opportunity and the most perfect solution for it, but I don't. And that's because of uneducation of myself to dive into it farther.
Here's some numbers. And I'm getting blown up here. And I just got, someone sent me a text and said, no, not blown like these guys down there.
Yeah, whatever.
Blown up. Why not a pursuit tag? Why, if people just want to come hounds, why not just no? If you just want to run hounds, here's a pursuit tag. A lot of people just want to go run their dogs and online. Okay, now here's the numbers: $260 for a non-resident license and lion tag, just to run hounds over there, right? 600 non-resident tags, $156,000 a year for Nevada. Okay, these are just numbers. 1988, 78.
Oh,
I think that's
John and Brookie right there. Ray's the tall one.
Look at him.
I think Rowdy's just yapping.
Yeah. 2000 and I think this is what they killed, but all the way I got years all the way back to 98, 2024. And if I'm wrong, someone tell me, but 148 lions killed. You know what I mean? I don't know what the quote is. It must be tags. I didn't get the whole. Let me see. Oh,
I think the quote is 260.
Harvest non-resident. 2024 is 71. Resident 77. 148 lions killed. To me, I feel like that doesn't constitute doing what's happening. I see taking a little step. and I see being very public about it. And I wish he would just come on the show and tell me what else is going on. Don't be quiet about it. Like, if you believe in something, if you're putting out a petition, loud and proud, man. I told him that. If you don't be sneaky, just tell us what's going on. Maybe there's a hidden factor in that equation that we don't know about. Oh, he is unmuted. You're unmuted.
Oh, am
right?
I? So
Oh, yeah.
yeah. So I was gonna say I missed most of it, right? Because I was in town, kids' baseball game, the grocery shopping. But I could get on with, say, like limiting the non-residents to one tag. Everybody gets a houndsman's license, because then that gives the state a little bit more money. Whether resident $20, $30 houndsman's license, and then of course the non-residents have to pay more. But capping at 40, I mean, that's kind of.
Well, it was originally 20. Am I right?
I know, but even 40, nobody's going to want to support us.
And there's 600,
so when it
right?
comes to the next time Nevada's getting attacked by the antis, 40 people and are going to maybe help us, right?
And you're a
40 people that got
Nevadian
their
resident.
tags.
I want to let everybody know you live in Nevada.
So
Yeah, I'm a resident in Nevada.
So Idaho is only 75, and someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but Idaho just went through it, and a lot of people. I'm not trying to combat it, because I really do agree with you, Rowdy. I do.
No, we're having a conversation. We're trying to figure it out.
Yeah, but so Idaho's at 75. They just went through that whole statewide lion thing, and they had support from everywhere. But Idaho's been like that for a while, so it's not
for a long
new.
time, yeah.
Where
and now people are seeing it as an attack
new
on them.
is different, yeah, and I get it, and to go to a comment, I probably missed it, but this guy put it up. Yes, I did hunt council when I had a non-resident license in Idaho, and it's like I don't know. Council's the best bear unit. You can go catch some good bears. You do, but it's so hard state to state when non-residents come in, because you go to your best lion spot, you go to your best bear spot, and you run into out-of-state plates. The first thing you go is go, motherfucker. Like you do.
They really say that when they see these Louisiana tags.
Oh,
yeah,
What the hell is this idiot doing?
they're like,
but
damn,
you paid your dues. You paid.
Is this Cajun lost? Is what they
He was. He was.
But
We were
but
squirrel
honestly,
hunting. I don't know what the big deal was.
Hey, you said put something up a tree.
and I agree with Rowdy. Utah has always had the pursuit permit, and out-of-staters had to buy the pursuit permit just to go chase during a kill season. They didn't have to have a kill tag, which is I think is a great thing, because some states require you to have a kill tag just to chase, where Utah did not. And so for me, when I was a Utah resident, it was $30. Do I think an out-of-stater should be able to come in and chase for that amount? No. Should it be like $150 or $200? Yeah. Who should I say? Like, I don't know who is the right person or what is the right amount for that, but do I think an out-of-stater should have to pay just a little bit more?
Well, that's the way it is everywhere.
Here's a question.
Yes.
Here's a question for Tim. How many buddy hunters are there? Out of the 70 or 75, how many of those houndsmen have collars on other dogs? How many buddy hunters are there?
I'm going to stay out of this conversation.
You know what I mean? It's going to happen everywhere.
Not joining this one.
If they're hunting, if they're breaking the rules, then
they need to be punished.
They need to be prosecuted.
I lived in a border town.
Mm-hmm.
I know how it happens, and I agree.
Okay, here's a question for Rowdy, the Nevadians. Why are there contractors over there killing lions still?
Mm-hmm.
Government hunters still snaring.
Well, from my understanding is there's areas that have a bunch of sheep, and they took out all the horses, and now the lions are concentrating heavily on the sheep.
Can you bring those lions killing horses to Arizona?
Yeah, we need them on the Salt River and up in 3C. I got a question for Rowdy. Am I misunderstanding what this petition does? Because to my understanding, it looks like they're not limited non-residents, only non-residents who bring their own dogs. So you can come and hire a guide and kill however many you want to. You can
Well,
hire.
My understanding, yeah.
Can you
Yeah,
hi- can you
that's
can you
fine.
get a lion tag and just go hunt? You don't have to put in a draw, but if you have hounds, you have to put in a draw.
That's my understanding. Yeah, I'm not part of the whole thing that was drafted up, so I didn't sign it yet. I mean, I don't even know if I'm against it or for it yet. I think it could be amended to be better than just capping at 40, because if we're stopping all the hound hunters, there's not going to be anybody to help support us. So
If you ever get in any of those conversations with Adam, maybe figure out what's driving this. Like, what is the reason for it? I'd love to hear that from the source if somebody would talk to us,
Well,
because it sure don't look good.
No, I'm making.
He
I'll
pulled up and
say
found
it.
too many folks in his spot.
I'll
Probably.
say-
I mean, I'm
yeah, I'll say-
I'm not trying to pick a fight, but
right.
No, and I'm with Jeremy. I'll say it from an uneducated point, and I'm going to preface that. But the guys on the eastern side of the state are dealing with more of an influx, whether they're outfitters or pleasure hunters. They are dealing with a huge influx that the rest of the state aren't, and that is why they're putting this together to try and almost to protect their backyard and protect the lion numbers, whatever it will be. They came about this in that way, whether it's the right way or the wrong way that they did about it. They're trying to protect that side of the state, and the hard part is they're trying to do it statewide, whereas only half of the state is having the problem, which Jared has, kind of educated me about with our things. And so, like, I see it and I don't, and it's so hard to just find the perfect solution.
My thing is, it doesn't need it. There's no problem. It doesn't. The science doesn't support that they have too many lions dying. If it's a zone specific thing, then they need a study in that area. It seems a whole lot like they're like, it's harder for me to drive 20 minutes from my house and catch a lion because this guy drove 11 hours and caught one where I go hunting. That's not fair. I'm going to take my ball and go. That's what it looks like.
I think it's been.
Take my ball and go home.
I think it's been kind of perceived as there's one person that people are going into his unit, and this is just what I'm getting from people. And he got mad that everybody's going into his unit, and now he has to travel farther, and he's mad about it. And now, and that could be true. So here's a question for Gila Hounds. Here's a question for Gila Hounds, because I just talked to a guy today that said it's no different than Arizona and the New Mexico guys coming over. And he just said, it's obvious that most of you guys don't make a living hunting in the town I live. I don't make a living at hunting because I don't want, I make more money doing what I do. I live in Reserve, New Mexico. More than 40% of our residents make a living from non-resident, including our grocery store, which is true. Just like Arizona, we get a lot of people come over here for bear and lion. But I have houndsmen just today even tell me that all these New Mexicans, we should do the same in our state. This guy told me exactly the same thing. We should do that in our state, because in one area, in Unit 1, New Mexican license plates are prominent over there, everywhere during bear season.
Every time I hunt up north, I see more out of state license plates than I see in state license plates. Mm-hmm. But I don't get upset because I'm used to it. Like Dustin said, where I come from, that is every day. You go hunting in Appalachia and go run bears, you will see 15 trucks. Mm-hmm. West Virginia, Kentucky, Virginia, all the surrounding states. You go coon hunting in the Midwest somewhere, Kentucky or in Indiana, you pull up to the public property, it's 6,000 acres, and you're going to have to hunt a parking spot that ain't got a cast in it, or you might have to go somewhere else. Or, if you get there late, guess what? There's going to be somebody turned loose in these woods already. That's just how it goes on public property. If you're out there talking about, they're coming out catching these deals, and you just got to get up earlier. It's just like any other kind of hunting in any other situation. If you want to beat the other guy, you got to get up earlier, walk farther, drive farther, train more days, get better dogs. You got to get better. If you're getting whooped in your backyard Only thing that tells the rest of us is you ain't as good as you thought you was. And I promise
Exactly.
you,
Exactly. So yeah, they're getting mad about people coming in and hunting their ground. You know, maybe they should hunt harder.
yep. If
What
I
I'm
come
s-
up to Nevada
They
and whoop
they
those
need to come
locusts
hunt with me
with my
for about a
shit
week.
eating, yeah, right. If I
I
take
just
my piece
Covered
of
on
crap up
Wednesday.
there and beat them, then they should be ashamed, you know? Like, you ought to be the best guy in the world in your own backyard.
Yep.
yes, you're right, Gila. So how many Arizona? I'm telling you, I know. I am not taking any sides on this. I'm just trying to figure out. And I God honest wish the petitioner would
Go
come
put
on
that back,
here
boy.
and
I
give
know,
me
it's
a
me and Mom.
reason to believe that his what he's doing is
Leave that alone.
for a cause. You know. So how many Arizonas? I'm glad you're on there. How many Arizona plates do you see over there in New Mexico? Because I know they go over there. I know people that go over there. And
Nope.
man, I'm
People-
kind of about reciprocating. If you come in this, I'm gonna tell you this is exactly what happens. We see it, not me, I don't go to New Mexico, but people see New Mexico plates. They think they kill all the bears over here. Whether they kill one or not, you see 15 trucks with a New Mexico plate. Guess what? Their season opens the week after. What do the Arizonans do? Oh, you want to come kill our bears? We're gonna go kill your bears. It's everywhere. Deer hunters, elk hunters, like
It is, and it's every state that is not that's an open over the counter tag, plain and simple. Nevada's an over the counter tag. Utah has no damn
Stuff
tag.
for we can do burritos or we can do tacos.
Arizona is over the counter. New Mexico is over the counter. So no
Huh?
matter where you live in those states,
I got 'em.
you are gonna deal with out of staters, plain and simple.
What do we
We're
do
gonna
with those
go hunt New
bags?
Mexico. New Mexico is gonna come hunt here. Like I get what he's saying,
Huh?
I do, and like
No,
Chris is saying, it's a trade off. You know, not all of us are gonna go hunt different states. Not all. Some people will, some won't, and it's hard. You know, you see a snowstorm, you're gonna see a flood of out of staters. Why? Because you got snow and they didn't.
and I bet you if you did the numbers, the percentage that are just people who get their dogs out 2 or 3 times a year
Maybe.
is ridiculously high.
Because
They're probably
they're chasing something.
Yeah. Yep. And I get it too. I mean, if you have dogs, like dogs take a lot of time. They take a lot of time. So if you get that opportunity to go put your dogs on something, go do it. Go do it.
You're gonna do it, and the hard part is whether
let-
you see
I
out
like
of
that.
state plates or not.
I was in a
You
hurry.
don't. If it's an over the counter
Yeah.
tag, you don't know if they're killing
No, at the
or if
producer,
they're
yeah.
just chasing. And so to me, I mean, I know it's not ideal, and I'm probably gonna get a lot of hate for this, but I think every state should have an over the counter pursuit permit, and a kill tag should have some sort of different variable. I don't know what's the right way. I don't know what would be the best, whether it's a draw or limited or
You
things
could always
like that.
put more money on it.
But I and Jeremy's right, but I still think that every state should have just a pursuit permit that's over the counter. I should be able to go pursue in Idaho just to pursue. I should be able to go pursue in Nevada. I should be able to go pursue in North Dakota, in New Mexico, all this. I should be able to take my hounds and go pursue. A kill tag is a different story, and I would be great with that, plain and simple.
Let me this guy here, Ted. The only thing I don't like is out of state outfitters unit hopping around and shooting anything that climbs. Recreational guys, no problem, but the travel ball outfitter game is silly. Now, when California lost their bear, there was a guy in Young, and I know this for a fact because he told my son or my cousin. He was driving around, and there was some people from California treeing bears, and they had one treed. The guy drove by, and the guy said, "You want to shoot it?" And he said, "What is it?" He says, "A sow." That's the stuff that makes your blood boil, right? It's a sow. Like it just makes your blood boil because that's an out-of-stater that's grabbing people off the road, which is probably illegal because if he's not getting
It is
paid,
illegal in Arizona.
right? If you're not getting
No,
paid,
no. In Arizona, you have to be present for the whole hunt. So from release of the hounds to the tree. So that is
I think
illegal.
that's only if you're getting paid.
No. That's for everything.
Oh no, this was before that.
Oh,
This was 10, 12 years ago. But that stuff makes your blood boil. And so I get it. I get the petitioner. I get it. Like people are in his unit doing that crap. I know they're doing bad stuff. But and people are I've already seen people, you guys shouldn't be talking about killing all this. But let me tell you something about the anti-hunters. And I know because we have people in the anti-hunter groups, and I know they're doing bad stuff. There's bad apples everywhere. Just so you little people who are doing what we do to you guys, spoofing our, kind of hiding in and listening to what we're talking about. We got people there too. It's a game we all have to play. I already have 6 files full of crap. So people people had said, hey, be careful what you talk about, but there's bad apples everywhere. There's bad apples everywhere. Buddy said, a lady said, how about the bad apples in your group in the houndsman? It don't matter where you are. Lawyers, bad apples. Cops, bad apples. Politics, a lot of bad apples.
All day long.
Kindergarten
Every one
teachers,
of 'em.
bad apples. High school teachers, bad apples. Like people who are supposed to be top notch, there's always bad apples. There's always look at our governor in Arizona right now. Isn't she in trouble for racketeering and all kinds of crap? Bad apple.
Well, it's like any aspect of hunting. Someone is always going to see the bad apple and shine a light on it. Whether it's a hound hunter, whether it's an elk archery hunter, whether it's a muzzleloader deer hunter, there's always people that push the ethics and do things that shouldn't be done. Plain and simple.
Yeah.
You can't stop that. You will never be able to stop that. Plain and simple.
You're waiting a long time.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so I think it's just,
It won't be too much longer. Mommy started dinner.
we can all have our own opinions. We can all say this or
It'd be
that.
just fine.
And in the end, I really, like I said before, I don't disagree with all of what's been put forth, but I don't agree with
All right,
all of
let's
it.
sit on
I
this
think it should have been, let's get together with everyone around us and work out the best solution. And that way the states around you will support you when that fight comes. And things like that.
Is it?
So here's a question for everybody.
You like spicy?
If it passes,
Oh.
do you think that Arizona, California, everybody should say, okay, now if you're from Nevada, we're going to only allow 40 of you in? Should we reciprocate that?
Right?
No.
So
Which is hard because
I
honestly,
don't think so. I don't think
Why
there's
not?
a place for that.
But-
now, boy.
I don't think there's a place for it.
and you're right.
Well, Louisiana,
You're right,
Mississippi
Derek.
do that all the time. They,
But
if Mississippi does something to,
You're gonna watch
Louisiana
TV.
residents, Louisiana, comes right back at them and charges them double or whatever.
because people are petty as
Yeah.
shit. Plain and simple. And that's the hard part is you can't go, well, you know what? Nevada did this. They kicked us all out. We're not going to support them because in the end, you look at what California's doing.
Yep.
California lost their shit and we're all trying to support them to get it back. Plain and simple, because you know what? If they take away from it from one of us, they're going
Take
to
away
come
from all
after.
of us.
They're going to come after all of us. And so, you know what? Whether Nevada does or accomplishes what they're after, I'm still going to support them because
Oh, yeah,
one
absolutely.
one cut from them is going to affect us all. Am I going to love the guys that push it through all this? No. Do I disagree with them? No. Am I going to talk shit about them? No.
Here's
you know.
my huge problem with the petitioner. You guys seen the text.
Yeah, we did.
What are you, 6th grade? Listen, don't tell me to lose my number. Don't tell me because you don't agree with me, I'm not your friend no more. That's stupid. That's childish.
You should have jumped on the bandwagon just because it was his idea, Chris.
Yeah, and he would support me in the same thing. Well, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do it the way he did it.
No.
He has a reason to do it. When I look at the numbers right now, and I see 148 lions killed, and the quote is 248, and they still have government trappers in there. That looks like you just don't want people in your area.
Lions?
I don't. I bet you don't. I don't know. I just got a text and it
When you go
said
to a commissions meeting, the depredation.
so the numbers aren't lining up. And so when you have
I think
government hunters in there killing,
148, I think
that-
separate.
yeah,
Makes sense.
And that's the hard
Because
part is we don't know the difference.
They
We
talk
hear
about
the numbers
the hunter
total,
kills,
but
and
the
then they go
difference
through the
between east side of the state versus west side of the state are very, very different.
And that's my
why-
whole point.
Yeah,
My
I
whole
don't think
point.
I don't
The-
think it should be a
Only
statewide
a few
thing.
years ago when they
The petition
think-
doesn't address how many lions are going to get killed. The petition just makes it if you want to kill one, you have to pay these guys to do it. That's the thing. The petition has nothing to do with saving lions or science or wildlife management. It has everything to do with who's going to get paid when you kill the thing. The petition is not going to save one lion life, not one. It's just going to make more money into certain people's pockets every time that trigger gets pulled. That's my issue with the petition. If you want to put a draw on your tags, then there needs to be signs. They need to do zone quotas per zone. That I would support wholeheartedly because the science would support it too. If most of those lions are killed in the snow zones, which I don't doubt at all, I believe you guys. I've never hunted that. If Jared tells me they're all getting whacked in these mountains, I believe you. So the quota needs to be in those mountains and it needs to stop.
you're making a mess.
The reason I suspect that these guys don't want that is because they're not caring about how many lions are killed. They don't want to drive over to this other zone and hunt either. They want to stay right here close to the house and make all that money. So they're gonna make it where you have to pay them to kill lions in these mountains. They're not saving the lion. They're just having their bill pulled.
And the hard part is, and I'm not saying this is a specific, I know people doing this in the same part, but right now, I guarantee you there are Nevada houndsmen that are in Utah hunting bears. There are Nevada houndsmen that travel to Idaho and hunt bears, whether it's legal or not. They're putting collars on, they're doing this or that. And like I say, I have no proof of certain guys doing it, certain guys are not. I know from experience because I lived in those areas.
Yep.
But yeah, right now, there's Nevada guys that come to Arizona every fall and guide
Yeah.
bears and hunt
we
bears.
know them sons of bitches.
And so they come to other states. They do, just like all of us, So, yeah, Chris might only hunt in Arizona because Chris is a homebody and he's a freaking weirdo.
I'm
They
broke
only
son
hunt
of gun.
girls.
But just saying, we all want to travel to hunt other states. I love hunting new country, plain and simple. There's nothing more than I love than just calling a guy and say, hey, where would be a good area to go? And he says, hey, go try this. And I drive 5 hours, sight unseen, and I go figure out how to hunt this country with my dogs. Am I successful all the time? Hell no. But I like to see new country. We all do. And so that's the hard part I have with anything going on with this is, yeah, Nevada's they're getting picked on with the shit that's going on, but at the same point, they come hunt other states, plain and simple. These Eastern Nevada guys that are complaining, and I'm not picking out any specific guys, but they live on the eastern border. Guess what? They're close to Utah as well. So they might not come hunt lions in Utah, but they're going to come hunt bears. They might not hunt lions in Idaho. They're going to come hunt bears. Whether they do it in Idaho legally or they do, quote unquote, like some people do, go up and hunt with buddies and put collars on their dogs is a different story.
What's that called? Poaching? You know what I mean? That's illegal.
If they're chasing just to chase, different than killing. Yes.
Well, but still, it's illegal.
So-
You can't legislate.
And that's the part that I kind of do struggle with a little bit and stuff like that. But I know the struggle because I've lived close to those border states, and I know the benefits of it, and I know the pros and cons of it as well. So,
But see, that's my whole thing though, is this petition doesn't address any of those things. It doesn't stop none of that. The only
it
thing-
doesn't, and I'm gonna agree with you on that. You know, Derek and I might not agree on everything, but I'll agree with him on that. It doesn't address that issue.
And I don't think that's what it's all it's trying. That's why my thing. My thing is the only thing it addresses is who's making the money.
I feel like this petition was thrown together quick. Like you got mad, you threw it together. They had to come back and revise it. I just think I think the petitioners and all those people should have put something together that worked for people. That did get rid of. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, to me, I'm looking at the numbers. 148 lions. There's 248 quota. You're still 100 lions shy, and you still got government hunters. I'm not seeing on my side in Arizona, reading that petition, reading the numbers I was just sent. I'm not seeing the problem besides, and I wish he would get on and tell me I'm wrong. I wish somebody would. At least if you're scared, if you're afraid of people, then have somebody speak for you.
I'll mute myself if they want to come talk to Dustin. He's nice. I'll be muted the whole time. He's a moderator. You can mute me the whole time they're in here. I won't hurt nobody.
I'll kick everybody off. It'll just be him explaining
there you go.
His situation. That's all. I mean, you can't just do this and be sneaky quiet about it. That's where I'm. Maybe he feels I attack him on that, but to me, that's just, you know what I mean? If you have a problem and I'm your neighbor, come tell me about it if my dog's shitting on your yard. You know what I mean? Don't just take the shit and throw it on my windows. Say, hey, man, your dog's shitting in my yard. Now, if I laugh about it and say, oh, well, then you could throw your shit in my windows or my door, whatever.
Yeah.
But there has to be a solution. He's not.
And there may have been some of that, Chris.
Maybe there is. I don't know. We don't know. Nobody knows. And I don't know why you wouldn't. If you're putting towards a petition, you must believe in it. You know what I mean? So you should be talking about it.
I suspect.
Yes, I was surprised to see a petition before anything. I hadn't heard anybody's having any issues up there in the northeast corner. All of a sudden now I just see a petition. Like nobody brought it up to the commission saying, hey, this is what's going on. This is what we're having issues with. It's all just out of the blue. Here's a petition. We only want 40 other houndsmen in our state.
20. And then they changed it to
initially,
40.
yeah.
20. What is 20? That's an insult. 40 is kind of an insult. When I could even say 100. 100 would be a better number because you have 100 leftover lions that haven't been killed on the quota.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here's and it might be a loaded question, but where is, and I don't know the proper name for it, but where's the Nevada Houndsman Association on this? Or whatever they're called. I don't know the right.
I think they got a couple. Houndsman Association, Nevada Sporting Dog Alliance. I don't know.
Where are they on all this?
I don't think no one wants to
shit.
talk about it. Maybe I need to reach out to them and just find out what their stance is on it. And they might not be taking a stance. We tried not to really take a stance on it, but you get flooded with text and emails and
well, and honestly, none of us are taking a stance on it. This is nothing but freaking opinion and
we're questioning it. We're questioning.
It's opinion and discussion. Derek and I, and even Jared.
Here you go.
I mean, Chris just sits there with a cigar in his mouth, but
yeah, if you
we
act
all
stupid, no one will question you.
We all have our different opinions, and at the end of the day, Derek can call me and say, "Hey, I have a question about this. Can you help
Some
me?"
Doritos and salsa.
Damn right, I'm gonna help him. Jared can call me, even though Jared runs Black and Tan. He can call me and say, "Hey."
I almost threw up a little bit.
Yeah, I know, dude. It was rough. He tried to take my picture with some Black and Tans in the background.
Oh man.
He called the blue tick a Black and Tan.
Dude.
Hey, we have to do what we can.
Dude, I shit you not. This dog is black in body and she has tick on her face.
Oh yeah.
And
he's just trying to hide it.
I'm with him.
I think that's the one he brought when he went with me.
I seen a dog strike a track and watch it go downhill. Couldn't see his face. All I seen was a black body and a tan asshole. And I was like, dude, it was a black dog.
You know
Yo,
what?
I know the problem with the whole situation is all these out of staters are bringing these high priced coon dogs out there and wiping out the lines,
Oh, it must be them speed dogs.
making them look bad.
Must be them
You know,
speed
that's
dogs. They're
what the
catching them
problem
real
is.
quick.
That's what it is.
But in the
It's
end,
hot boy.
You know, you should know by now with this show. Look
You
at
can try it.
Derek
Just do
was
a little bit,
totally
dip it.
wrong and had nothing, didn't know what he's talking about, and we proved
Just tip.
like we were smarter than him, and we still let him on the show.
There you go.
When did that happen? That never happened. You
Dude,
just
no.
yell at her, don't mean you're
Yeah,
I
right.
forgot. I
Modesty.
forgot, guys. It didn't happen.
that's every episode.
But you know what I mean? We're here, and I listen.
Hey, I'm just saying, every time we're talking about snow country, every video you see of guys
Look at
bringing eastern dogs out there in the snow country, they're catching more than we're catching. You know,
Oh, hell.
what
Oh,
Kirk
hell.
Price come out and catch 4 in 2 days? Like,
someone needs to translate dumb shit to me. I do not speak it. Tell me that. Somebody please translate that to me. I'm playing, Derek.
Anyways, that's the benefit.
Well,
and-
Nate, they're
and
a
the
C3.
great-
If those guys are a C3, they can't really take a stance on it.
and that's what
I'm talking as Chris Watson, not AWDA.
Yeah.
I'm talking as Chris Watson.
So I don't know.
You like
Like
those
I
chips?
say, I think there's right on both sides, but
Mhm.
dude, I
It
don't
is.
think that the way that it was gone about was right. I think it could have went a different way,
I think we all
And-
agree on that.
and a better solution could have been brought forward. And honestly, if the people that put it together want to call and talk to me, my number's not hard to find. It's on the website.
I'd give it to you, but I lost it.
But like I say, I'm not here to argue with them. I'm not here to argue with Derek. I love arguing with Jared because it's easy. But just
Like a kindergartner.
oh man, it's so fun to get him frustrated and start talking about black dogs. But like I say, I mean, Derek has a different upbringing. Jeremy has a whole different look at the world than the rest of us do. And their perspective on this Western world is not holistically right, but it's also a valid point because one, they haven't lived here their whole life. They haven't hunted this their whole life. They're not outfitters. They're not guides. And they're not in the thick of it where if you made your living solely doing nothing but hound hunts and 20 different guys from 20 different states came into your backyard and making your living harder, that shit's frustrating.
Oh yeah.
Like, do I think what they did is right? No. But do I think they're fighting for their way of living in a wrong way? 100%. And so to say it less poetically than that, I mean, I just think it could have been done better, and I think there could have been a better solution brought together. With that, I'm gonna say goodbye. I'm not gonna Irish goodbye. I'm gonna say peace out. And dude, Jared freaking tried to come after me for an Irish goodbye when we were camping. I disappeared. Went and talked to my wife for a minute on the phone. He's like, dude, did you go to bed? I was like, no.
He's
He's like, I thought you Irish goodbye. I was like, no. I was just talking to my wife on the phone. I'll be back. But anyways, that's my 2 cents. I'm out. Y'all have a good night.
All righty.
Good night.
See you, Dick.
Later, bud.
Dustin.
Thought he was gonna leave. Son of a bitch. I'm getting rid of him. Well, there you have it. I think we've made it clear to the petitioner or to whoever hates my guts that we just want to talk about it. We're just trying to figure it out. You know what I mean? Like for the petitioner not to push it or talk about it that's kind of weird.
And I know I get rowdy and loud about it, but If I'm wrong, please tell me I'm wrong. I'd love to be wrong. Restore my faith in humanity. But if I'm right, don't hide. Just say it. Like if I'm right, say it's harder for me to make my living. Boo hoo, I want to kick people out. And I'll just tell you you suck, whatever. I'll talk shit.
And then we'll go have a beer after.
Yeah, it's fine. You know? Like I make fun of them itty bitty little short-legged black dogs of Jared's, but he's still my friend.
Yeah.
You know
He has the big tall Walker dogs too. Don't let him fool you.
He does have them big Walker dogs, to be fair.
He had one. I told him, I said, shoot, why are you walking? You could ride
Right
this
that thing.
Walker dog trailers.
And it don't affect you, right, Rowdy? It don't affect nobody in state. It don't affect. But then when you get petty, and you start trying to call game and fish on people for being out of state, that's where that's kind of that's stupid.
Well, I mean, if they're breaking the law, they should be turned in.
If you don't agree with me, I don't say go away from me. If you don't agree with me, you don't agree with me. Tell me why. That's all.
Yeah, if I made everybody who didn't agree with me lose my number, I wouldn't have any friends. You guys, ain't none of y'all agree with me.
Yeah,
shoot, I ain't got many.
We've all been wrong once or twice.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and it's just we're all houndsmen. We're still houndsmen. We're all the same person.
I don't know about that. I'm a hound feeder.
Well, yeah, you're right.
I'm a shit skipper that walks a little bit. I don't know.
Hey, you know where I caught that bobcat, Jeremy? Right up from where you
caught
camped.
a bobcat.
Yeah, he took his reporter out and caught one.
I didn't even get a picture.
I sent it to you. I sent you the article. It's all over Facebook.
Hey,
Oh,
Chris, how did little pups do on that? Did you have them young pups with him too?
I had Morozny.
How'd she do?
Morozny, oh good. You seen her?
Yeah.
If you look, I have a video.
Oh man.
I
She
saw
put
it,
the
but I
video.
didn't get a chance to watch all of it.
You got to
Does he
read
have the
that.
spiders?
She did.
Or
I
look
get
at it.
so many compliments on that article, but that's the proactive.
Looks like
We're
you
done
actually
with
took a
Nevada.
bath
We're done with
off your
Nevada.
beard.
Nevada did what they're doing.
Yeah.
I think if I like, I think for people who say I don't want it and write into the commission and say they don't want it, I think that's a sign. And I think Cleve needs to. Oh man, I said his name.
It's already been said in comments.
I know. I think
good.
the petitioner. There's 5 of them. I think they need to kick back, and they need to reevaluate, and they need to go public and say, okay, what can we do? I think that's what should happen if it gets kicked. I don't think it's going to go through. That's just me making a prediction, but I don't know. I don't hunt over there. I hardly hunt all of Arizona. You know what I mean? I stay really close because I can hunt more 30 minutes
I
away
hunt
than I
all
can
of
4
Arizona.
hours away. Yeah,
Different
From
pants.
north to the south.
you're one of
Oh,
them
I
out of
mean,
staters.
oh,
We're
yeah,
gonna ban
wearing black ones, huh?
just
All right,
Louisiana.
I'll move.
Yeah.
I'll move and become an in-state.
You will move to our state. Derek's no
And then
hunts.
your son will be after me. Sick him up.
I don't care who you are. Most people have snow hunted. I would have snow hunted Friday, but I had to go pull somebody out.
Hey, I tried it once, and it wasn't. It was harder than the dang dirt. I should have went to Patagonia that time. I went because of the snow. It was just wet. Too many leaves. The trees were too tall for my dogs. They didn't know how to locate them up in them big pines.
So I guess we can end this on kind of a good note, and to be proactive.
Yep.
That article I did is probably one of the first articles that's been put out that you take somebody who didn't know what was going on. She was literally scared. Like, she was weird. I went to let my dogs out. It's like, what are you doing? I was like, oh, I'm going to let my dogs out. Like, she was dumbfounded about just letting them run loose. And that's the person. And her husband hunts, but not dogs. And that's where we fall real short because no one understands it. And by the time we were done, she said it should be illegal to not have collars on those dogs.
And it is in a lot of states.
You know, and she was just she's like, I have champion labs and they don't behave this good. You know, and I said, I tell you, that's probably 90%, if not 95, of your houndsmen.
Yep.
You know,
My
and I
one-year-old
don't
puppy,
deny the bad
they know
apples,
each other.
but everybody has bad apples. Every state, every colony, every parish, every other side, other way. You got reverse camera.
That guy's the bad apple.
Hey, you haven't caught me yet. That's all I'm saying. That's why I carry that 20-year-old bear meat trade-off.
Oh, and,
You know,
and mine.
trying to
full.
make laws
And
to
Chris is
fix
above me.
illegal behavior is the same thing as outlawing guns because somebody's a murderer. It don't do no good. It's foolish. If you kick out a group of hunters because one guy poached or 20 guys poached, well, they already were breaking the law. They didn't care about that anyways. You know, it's wild. But Chris, I have several guys that I'm trying to figure out how to make this work. But doing a series of videos where traveling hunt with this guy in his country, hunt with this guy in his country, and this guy in his country, all over the country, hunt different critters in different situations in different places.
Bottom lip, top lip.
I'm trying to figure out how to make that work. I think that would be a good thing to put out and show as many people as possible.
We definitely need to be proactive, no matter what state you're in. And we really got to work together, no matter what the petition says. Just because we don't agree with it doesn't mean I don't want to talk to you or.
Yeah, leave my number.
I don't think I've said a bad word about the petitioner in my life.
If the antis come in, then I'm still going to be like, save Nevada, you know, because that's what we do.
Oh, yeah. You know, and he did say he sent in letters to us. I would send in letters. Just because I don't agree with what you're doing right now don't mean I'm not going to help you out somewhere else.
And if they face a thing like we faced, I'd drive up there. I'd be ready for that, you know.
Yeah.
Well, they still deserve our support no matter what they do. You know.
That's right.
And I'm not totally against, put a quote on it.
I like that.
But the only ones that are really going to be affected are the border states.
Yep.
People back east, they're going to come regardless. Okay, yeah, they have to save up for 10 years to make, $7,000 to pay for a home.
Yeah.
It'd take me 20 years, but, still.
Hell, I'd have to be a bank robber.
I'd move. Hey, I just swapped state.
Mm-hmm. Rowdy, leave us with something being a Nevadian. What do you think?
Oh, but
I don't think. How do you think it should go?
The right choice. I think that there's going to be a middle ground. Maybe everybody has to get a houndsman license like Utah does, or Idaho does, but maybe capping non-residents at one tag apiece, and that will stop those people from, killing first thing that they tree, and then waiting for a tom. That may be the best choice. I don't know. Maybe we cap it at 75, 100. What's that?
Make it illegal to shoot females and kittens.
Yeah, non-residents can't shoot a female.
New Mexico, I don't think you can kill a female.
Yeah.
I think New Mexico can kill anything.
I don't know. They make you take that test just like Colorado.
Yep. Yep. And I've always said, why not have that? I mean, they could have something where you have to file and say when you're going to be there. So if there is some discrepancy.
The reason that they don't make it like Tom only is because you would have to have dogs then, and they can't do that because that puts us in a good light. That's why nobody's pushed it through. I think that's something that we might think about petitioning. No female kills. Tom's only.
Or like Robert Chase just said, make out of state Tom only.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Let your residents do your maintenance on your female.
Nevada Nevada's not it's lion, period, right?
Yeah.
It's just lion, yeah. And it has to be over, it can't be spotted, I think over 50 pounds.
No, it just can't be spotted.
Oh, okay. So it just can't be spotted.
Yeah. I mean, here's the end of it. There's no quota being plowed over. You're still 100 lines shy, and you still got government hunters. That boggles me that they're worried about it.
And that's why I think there's a better compromise than capping it at 40, 40 license. So
He's gonna bring more government trappers in there. It's gonna next
it,
time.
yeah. So, and what it's going to cause is more snaring, which is going to keep people out of ranges. So, neck snaring is what they've been doing, leg hold trapping for them, and it's granted they don't do it in the winter typically. Some I assume, but typically they don't because there's less dry ground hunters than there are snow hunters. But as soon as I hear that they're snaring in a mountain range, I don't even go to a mountain range because
No,
I don't want to risk it.
I'm not a fan of snaring. I don't.
I'm not against it. I just want to know.
It's
I
effective.
think there's a better way of doing it as far as even if they could put up on the NDOW website saying, hey, government trapper's going to be working this mountain range from X
Or post a
road to
sign,
X
right?
road.
On the road
What's that?
going in, snares.
Or a sign at the road, yeah.
Yeah.
What I
Just
need
to
to do is
let
I
you
need
know.
to tie in with Jared and figure out, get in with the government trapper and know where he's working so I can stay out of there.
Yeah.
So, because I that's the last thing I want is to lose a dog. So,
Yep. Well, there it is, guys. 2.5 hours of nonsense. I think I think we all agree it should have just been done different. He has a reason for doing it. Should have been done different. I mean, I think on the end note, I think we can all agree that it should have been a little bit different. He should have came on some podcasts or somewhere and said, "Hey, this is what I got going on. What do you think?" Send me an email.
get the word out not to do this kind of thing, right? So don't bring 5 guys in with 2 tags apiece and don't hunt out an entire range. That's not only on sportsmen, it's unethical,
Send me an email, tell me what you think, and then we'll go through the emails, try to put something together, and email these people back and say, what do you think of this? Is there 1,000 emails? Don't matter. If you're doing something like this, you have to take the time.
Yeah.
Trust me, I've gotten text after text and messages after messages.
Yeah. So, and I don't have any hard feelings against anybody. It's just, I think there's, we can adjust it and figure out how to make everybody happy as best we can. I understand the sentiment of not wanting other people in and that are just wiping out a range because they don't live there and they don't have to worry about coming back to hunt it next week. But keeping everybody out, I think, is, a little bit on the extreme side.
And saying, okay, here's 40, but guess what? If you want a pursuit, come get a tag. It's $100.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
And I said it before, I'll say it again, because it sure looks like the only thing this petition does is legislate money to certain businesses.
It does look that way, and that's it's not a
If
good
it ain't,
look.
If it isn't, come tell us what it is.
Yeah. If it's something else, tell me, bud. I would love to be wrong.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, heck, you're wrong.
Yeah, we'll always tell you you're wrong, whether you're right or not. You know that.
That's why I said they're trying to legislate money to businesses, not legislate money to businesses fast. Because if I talk about doing it faster, then y'all just get at it.
All right, guys.
All
Said
right.
what
Have
we
a good
need to
night.
say. If anybody has any questions or anything going on, azwda@outlook.com. If you guys want to watch that, I will be posting that webinar, azwda.com. I'll probably put it under the front page, right under that article that Jeremy hasn't read yet. It's a good article. I've had so many compliments on that article.
It is a good read.
I was so shocked by your photograph because it looked like you took a shower and brushed your beard.
It's AI.
I know he took a
Put your
shower. That was
makeup
weird.
on, and you
I had a
dirty
fork in
all
my truck.
clean and
Brush my beard.
I was shocked by the portrait you took.
It's AI. It's AI.
Had to have been.
Yeah. She said, you have to wear those stained jeans and holy shirts? I said, yeah. She goes, I'll fix that. But I was wearing my value pack hat. And that guy was like, heck yeah. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate your input. Besides Derek's, he's always wrong.
Yeah.
And I will see you next week.
Filters.
All right. Good night,
Sounds
everybody.
good. Thanks, guys, for coming on.
All right.
All
See
See
you,
right.
you
boy.
later.